Hello, family, friends, fans, and fellow adventurers. Welcome back to Practical Heroes with our second flagship campaign, the Sands of Syldaris, set in the pretty much entirely homebrew world of Eroth, where, last time, you guys made your way to the capital of the Sleeping Gardens, the city of Dura. You spoke to Captain Mayruzi of the Knights of Dura, who is the captain of the guard here in the city. Don't mind me just monitoring the music at the same time, making sure it's not too loud for everyone, because it got too loud for me for a second there. But before that, you guys went and had a drink at the local tavern, had a meal. You made your way into the Amethyst district of the city, where you went to the Ruby Tankard and had a very lovely, very fancy meal in a very fancy tavern. You collected some spiritual wood along the way, a somewhat valuable resource that can be used for the crafting of armor, which can increase a spellcaster's concentration. And after a brief bit of exploring and a discussion about potentially staying in the city and exploring the nightlife for Linger's sanity after being trapped out in the wilderness for so long, you agreed to spend at least part of the day exploring the city, speaking to the captain, and potentially getting further information about the investigations that you are heading down now, or starting to head down, surrounding the recent sightings and attacks which seem to be perpetrated by some sort of automaton-like creature. But with that, we rejoin you guys in the headquarters of the Knights of Jura, in one of the main briefing rooms with the captain of the guard, the half-orc Mayruzi. As she puts her elbows on the table and kind of leans forward and... So, what have we here?
Well, we have Chesterfields, pleased to meet you. We have Warden here. We have Linger. We have Mura's here. She's going to be very quiet today. She mentioned a sore throat.
For once.
And we're here to see you, I do believe, as you are large and in charge. Oh, perhaps I should give you this letter of introduction.
She stands up, about 6.5 feet tall, absolutely fucking ripped.
Large and in charge.
You can see she's wearing kind of like a fairly standard looking just kind of nondescript townsfolk shirt with the sleeves violently ripped off from the looks of it. And you can see her right arm is entirely clockwork and arcano-mechanical. As she kind of steps out from behind the desk and holds out the mechanical hand for the letter, takes a quick read, hands it back. I see. So you're here to help around the city or to get stuck into the investigations?
Yes, and yes. Maybe to both. He sort of looks at his companion, shrugging his shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And, I understand from the letter that you've had a run-in with the, those sun god cultists.
Multiple times, yes.
Several, yes.
Tell me about them.
Well, they're very sloppy. I can tell you that. Their manipulation of magic is very
Amateurish, if I may throw a word
immature.
out.
Yes, it's very provincial. I don't know. It's just if what we have seen is what they have to offer, I don't think the world really has a whole lot to worry about.
It seems like working through proxies as well.
Yeah, I think a few skilled organizations could easily handle that. However, if you have anything local that we could assist with, we're not opposed to earning coin. It seems to be our most recent successful venture is hiring
to
on
know.
as consultants.
Win and
guess.
fame in equal parts.
Okay. So you're mercenaries.
Yeah, you feel
In
like
a
there's
matter
a
of sorts.
More-
sort of a negative connotation a little bit on that wood.
Freelance defenders.
Ooh,
Defense contractors.
I also would accept
yes.
that.
Hide guns.
I always
Okay,
love
English.
it when someone's like, "You mercenaries," and everyone just.
I think that we like turn to each other, or we're like private contractors, hired guns, bounty
Yeah.
hunters. like we're workshopping it.
Yeah,
You're banned.
definitely don't like mercenaries. Mercenaries can be hired by anyone to do anything. We have standards.
Exactly.
Band of merry individuals.
Yes.
I am so merry.
A band of
Now,
Mira individuals.
I'm so Pippin.
She kind of grins at you guys. You can see there's a couple of metal teeth, but the tusks are poking through. And she, all right. Well, so far we haven't had any goblins in the city for quite some time, so if that's your only area of expertise, you're gonna be sorely disappointed. That is a joke, of course. She heads back
course.
around the desk. Sorry, what was that?
Of course.
That's right, you laugh at my fucking jokes. I could beat your...
Wow. She's
Took
a
it to win.
she's a firecracker, ain't she?
Very aggressive though.
She heads back around the desk and pulls a thick book out from the desk and starts kind of leafing through some of the pages. I assume you're here because you've heard about the automaton attacks. Those
Yes.
came through somewhat recently. We haven't seen any sign of them since. But we've had the Knights of Jura investigating around the city to see what they could find. See if we could find a possible point of ingress. See where it came from, see what it possibly wanted. By the time we had it cornered, it sort of realized it was outnumbered and self-destructed, so wasn't a whole lot we could recover from it.
Any
Big, uh,
signs of maker's marks or point to manufacturer?
None that we could find any trace of, no.
Hmm.
Sort of a big fiery explosion, that sort of thing.
Kind of liquefied and melted from the inside.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is,
It,
is there anything left of the site that we could go?
absolutely, you can go and have a look. That's what I was,
Hmm.
having a look at here for you. According to what we've seen and heard, the automaton came in through the Golden Mill. It's the entry point in the northwest. Leads down from the Stitches, so... I mean, we had word that it was possibly related to the attack in Bimbleduke, which was traced back to an airship from the Sleeping Gardens, but... that would mean it's probably then come in from the west and has made its way up north to come in through the Golden Mill and the Obsidian Gate. Whether it directly came through the gate, we doubt. Nobody reported seeing any automatons at the gate on that morning. A lot of the people in the Golden Mill aren't necessarily as willing to talk to the guard as some of the others. It's a bit more rough and tumble over there. It's the, for lack of a better word, I mean, I came from there myself, but it is the lower end of the city. It's the slums, it's the people who are just a bit more down on their luck or being a bit ostracized by the other members of society. So,
The shady individuals, perhaps.
well, of course, under the watchful eye of the Knights of Jura, there are never any shady individuals able to run amok in our city, officially. But absolutely, where there is a city, there is a shady individual, and where there's a, organization trying to stop that, there are people who know how to not be stopped or try and get around it, and we can't catch everyone, so there will be some people around there for sure. Yeah. I'm not gonna pretend that this city doesn't have any issues. That'd be stupid.
All right. Well, perhaps in a less than official capacity, we could venture there and find some answers that you are unable to in your, goddish persona.
Of course, not meaning to mean any offense by it, but, given your bugbear companion, you might have a bit more luck down there than some of the town's guard have. Often a lot more of the more,
Charismatic, suave,
Yeah, so
genteel.
they
Yes.
appreciate beauty in all things. I understand.
that, but also a lot of the more, beastly races that
Oh, I feel like that was unnecessary.
sometimes people don't necessarily want to mix with. Believe me, I had years of people telling me that a half-orc couldn't make it. So I get it. But, it ain't great, but that's what we got.
All right.
It's
one
not
thing
to
I'm
say
curious
they're not
about-
throughout the city anywhere else, but there's a lot more of them that are just down on their luck.
Yeah, we've all been there. Out of curiosity, so this incursion, if we could call it, is it somewhere between here and Bibliduc that it took place?
I'm
Or
not
is it,
sure
like,
I
right
follow.
outside the city. These automatons, where exactly did you find them? Like, was it
Right.
right outside
It,
the gates or quite a distance? Like days
So-
travel.
There were, to our knowledge, 2 automaton sightings. One in Bimbleduke, one here.
Ah, okay. I thought it was the same one for a second. Thank you.
They appeared in the city. Bimbleduke, it's actually, I would say it's somewhat understandable how it got in, given that it's not a giant walled city like this, but it is a walled location. So how it managed to get in, we don't really know yet. We've checked the sewers. We've checked every possible point of entry that we could think of, but the guys who fought it said it was a bit slimmer and sleeker than most of the automatons or any sort of fighting units they'd come across before, so we have a theory that it's possibly some sort of sleeker infiltration unit or something. We don't know. It liquefied before we could take it anywhere.
Did it ever say anything?
A lot of death threats.
So it's capable of speech. That's interesting.
Give me a more descriptive description of its appearance.
Yeah. Let's have a look here. And she flips back through the logbook that she has. She says, so, among the death threats, there was also apparently shouts of it being in a lot of pain and a lot of torment. Reports were, initially, they thought it was an armored humanoid, standing at 5'10". When they hailed the unknown humanoid, and it turned to face them, they realized it was an automaton. They reported, let's have a look here, looked like it could have been a suit of walking armor, but there were no gaps or joins in the armor, which is what led them to believe it was an automaton and not a man in armor. One of our soldiers reported, and he is unsure as it was in the heat of battle, but he managed to get in close, and he says he could have sworn there was one human eye staring at him. There was reports of hands that could turn into blades, and it seemed to be able to fire crossbow bolts from its wrist.
Shit.
So out of character, it's a T200, 300.
Yeah, I was thinking it's Cyberman. What with the eye poking out?
Well, the liquefying and the, I don't know.
Yeah, liquefying. Yeah.
They also
Sure,
said as it was liquefying, it stuck its thumb up in the air.
Was the liquid like a mercury looking?
Weird that. Someone actually called it from a payphone and said, "Tell me." I can't remember the exact thing they asked the
I wish Steph
Terminator
was
to find
trying
out what
to be
it
like,
was.
I'm sorry, Miro, but your parents are dead.
She already
Feel
knows
bad.
that.
I have parents.
So,
Yeah.
what's your guys' reaction when he says walking suit of armor and basically describes Kaido Warden?
I mean, I think as the description is happening, Linger definitely starts very slowly, like angling herself to like look out the side of her eye at Warden. But I think we've established that you're not hollow, right? Kind of. Maybe.
Like there's stuff inside him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's stuff inside him.
There's
Okay.
love inside of him.
It's love and crayons.
Chester has that very
My favorite one of the
open-minded,
purple ones. They taste the best.
Mm.
that very open-minded thought of, some bugbears are good, some are bad. Some
Yeah.
elves are good, some are bad. Some
Yeah.
automatons are good, some
And in
are
my
bad.
world, a lot of elves are a lot of dicks.
Yeah. Well, that's
We're a
elves.
fortress.
Yeah,
Um,
Hate elves.
they live so long and get so racist.
Well, they're jaded. I mean, you got to have something to keep you going, and hate is an easy fuel.
It's just because they get old. It's just what happens to old people.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I yell at kids in my yard. Anyway, so her side eye isn't like a suspicious one. It's more just like trying to like add up. Okay, well, things we know about Warden. Could that be the same? So maybe it's the same sort of entity, but not like. Is Warden gonna turn on us and liquefy? Nothing like that. But definitely trying to see if there's,
No, I was thinking from the future by the Resistance. I've been reprogrammed.
Perfect.
Come with me if you want to
Much
live.
better.
Hey.
Warden just looks at you all and just, I'll be back, and leaves.
I guess
Comes back, sips his Y up. Sorry, I'm back.
I guess Warden, seeing as you have some similarities to the aforementioned automatons, you ever come across anything like this in your travels, in your memories?
Mitch, have I come across any other Warforged similar to me?
I'd say you probably have. They're not it's not uncommon to come across Warforged. They are completely normal in the sense that, people might still stop and look at the autonomous walking suit of armor down the street because you just would. Anyone walks past in armor and people stop and look. But from Warden's perspective, in terms of having come across Warforged entirely like him, probably not a huge amount. He's just so unique.
I've certainly never come across any similar to me. None as advanced as one they're describing.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if I ever mentioned, but in my band, the drummer, he was an autognome, Amasin the autognome. It doesn't quite match this description, and he was a very nice individual, so I don't think he's melting and killing people.
Mm-hmm.
He's just melting faces.
Any
with his high
eardrums.
voltage rock.
Heck yeah.
New album name. Melt eardrums, not people.
Exactly.
Work on it. Oh, hi, Sadie. My dog, everyone. Sadie.
Oh.
In terms of anything it's left behind,
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of left a puddle of liquid metal that is currently under high guard and is being investigated by our artificers and our wizards to see if they can glean anything from it. So unfortunately, that's currently off limits to people that we don't know and trust and don't have the proper clearance. Not even I'm allowed to go in at the moment.
How does one get the proper clearance? Or at least clearance to read any reports of their findings?
Reports come to me. I
Okay.
could probably get you those if I'm satisfied that you are what you say you are, and you're certainly going to be worthwhile and helpful. And don't mind me, I'm just turning up the exposure on my webcam because I'm super dark right now. Sorry, the lights in this office are either just too bright or too dark. I mean, look at this, it's ridiculous. I'm either being interrogated or I'm in shadow. I'm so sorry about this. I wish there was a middle ground, but unfortunately there's not.
Poor lady.
Sweating under these lights.
I think it's the people you interrogate are supposed to be hot.
Right. The reports, once I've read and had a look at, I could potentially give you access to, and I We'll likely divulge information to you if you are helping us on our investigation, yes.
So you want us to earn your trust?
That would certainly be nice. Tell you what, go to the local tavern, there's some rats in the basement. Kill 10 rats and come back to me and I'll see if I've got something more for you.
Oh my god.
Well, that's
We'll just
will-
set Rip on the floor, just be like, come back in, 15, 20 minutes, you'll have it
I
done.
will try
Alright.
and promise to never be that DM.
Rip will come back with 10 rat tails in 10 minutes.
These are fine trophies of your accomplishments in battle.
You just don't have enough XP right now. Come back when you're a higher level, and then maybe we can talk shop.
Hey, can someone Google how to actually increase your reputation? This season's new content is just such a pain in the ass. There's no guides on it yet.
so grindy.
We need this to get to the day one raid, guys. Come on.
But that's all we seem to have so far on this visitor that we believe came from the Sleeping Gardens. That's where we are, the Silent Isles.
Well, maybe if we were
Also,
to go to the Golden Meal and were able to uncover some things that you were not, perhaps that would earn your trust.
It'd certainly go a long way.
Just a thought.
While you're there, collect 20 feathers.
I was going to do that anyway.
Why am I having Assassin's Creed 2 flashbacks? I don't know. It's probably nothing.
Someone's just gonna rock up and be like, "It's a me, Mario. Hi, Ezio." The greatest joke
That was
ever
that was
dropped.
the most least subtle Easter egg ever. I remember it was like Christmas time, whenever that came out. I was young and I was watching my cousin play because he got it for Christmas, and he got to that scene, and even like 11-year-old me thought it was stupid. Bad.
But yeah. What would you guys like to do?
Trying to find that PDF you sent me with all of the alchemy stuff.
All of the answers to every question in the campaign? Yeah, that one. Cool. I remember that one, yeah. The cheat sheet.
The alchemy one.
It's somewhere. I can resend it to you.
Yeah, apparently I closed our DM. Rude of me.
If it's not
How dare I?
too big, I could just drop it straight into the Discord chat for you. Otherwise, I might have to dig around, which I will do.
You can do it after the session. Just pretend like we have it, and along the way, she's looking. When we get there, she's going to look around and get units of X. Maybe.
It's sending to you because I'm already in the folder of where it is because I had it
Oh, look at you.
ready to go. Because I was opening up the Discerning Merchant's price guide earlier before the session started, and figured I'd stay in that folder in case you wanted to do any alchemy, and I could grab the PDF quickly and easily.
Look at
I
you
need to
go.
just save it on my desktop.
I need to add it to Shard, and then I can just pin it to your journal and to mine. But anyway, it should be nice and easy, actually. I should be able to just convert it to a Word doc and import it, because they have an import for Word docs. But anyway.
Yes, Captain, seeing as we're going to be
Yes.
in town for a few days, and one of the things we kind of need to do on that front is accrue some wealth. We've got some, I was going to say ebonwood. Some
Spirit.
spiritual wood that we need to offload, as it would. Could you recommend a place where we could do that?
There's a couple of places you could go. It depends on how fancy a shop you're looking for, to be honest.
Look at me. The fancier, the better.
You know, I don't doubt that. Well, if you head back to the Amethyst district as a whole, instead of just this little citadel area here, there's a couple of shops in there that'll potentially buy it off you. You could take it straight to the armorer, and he'll help with that. Struggling to recall the name of the armorer right now off the top of my head.
It happens.
Or indeed his shop. But if you're looking for a magic shop, there is the Fox's Arcana in the Amethyst District. If you're looking to stay around the Amethyst District, that is. If you weren't thinking of sticking around the Amethyst District, there are obviously more, but they start to get a bit dodgier, or they start to have fewer wares, because, you know, people don't really want to be trading, or people just can't afford it down there. But if you're looking to go straight to the armorer, then you want to head to Siswila in the Amethyst Ward. That's Siswila's Armors and Shields.
And shields. Let me write that in my notes here. That actually sort of led me into my next question. Thank you for that. You mentioned shadier individual areas of the city.
Absolutely, we have none of them. This is a utopia.
Right.
I'm being sarcastic. Half-orc sarcasm's weird, I know.
What, for example, what a newcomer to your city, you would say, oh, whatever you do, don't go to insert name of this tavern here. It's real bad. And then as he's saying this, since she mentioned before that she came up through the Golden Mill, he's going to throw in Thieves' Cats, where thieves and rows hang out, question mark. See if she answers that as well.
She kind of squints. I do believe I remember last session saying that she has an eye patch. So she squints with her one good eye. She has an eye patch now. And
she lift it so she can squint with both eyes and put it back down.
Kind of flashes a very quick tusky grin. Well, and she kind of nods her head towards heavily armored warden in the corner. If you're looking for a fight, you might want to take yourself to the Tankard and Crow down in the Golden Mill. It has a bit of a reputation, shall we say. You might come across one or two of our local pirates on a brief break from Sigmir's Cove, potentially trying to lay low in our city, potentially doing a good... I mean, one time the captain literally walked in with the tricorn still on his head. I mean, it doesn't really get much more obvious than that. He might as well have just had a parrot on his shoulder. If he had another pirate on his shoulder, I'd be impressed.
It's like a hat on a hat.
I'm sorry, is something wrong with tricorns?
No, but when you're a notorious pirate and you walk in full pirate regalia, it's a bit obvious.
All right, well, those were my two questions. Linga, Warden, Mura, you have anything we would like to ask the nice captain here?
Maybe Mira runs off to find the guy with the harmonica.
Yes.
And she Scooby-Doos it the rest of the day, or Benny Hills it, whichever one of those you like better. She's running around.
Sounds like her.
Yeah. We haven't heard him, and so, tracks.
Yeah.
It's innocent enough. No, I don't think there's besides going to this fox shop possibly, and if you all need to go to the armor, we could do that. I don't think there's anything that I need to be doing separate from you two. So I'm good, in summary.
Well, yeah, I would like to go to the armor.
Weird that. Warden wants
Surprising,
to
I
go
know.
and look at weapons and armor. Crazy.
Crazy.
Who'd have thunk?
All right, Captain. So we shall be off, and we hope to return with news and data and input and trust grown between our two groups.
Excellent. Enjoy.
I always do.
Cool. So, you head back out into the city? Where are we off to first?
The Arcana Loft shop. I mean, Fox's Arcana shop.
Can
Whatever
you-
it is.
Stop fucking
Yeah.
calling out my
Oh.
tropes before I do them.
No, never.
Last time it
You
was
love me.
Booker's evil all along. This time it's but the guy running the Fox's Arcana is an Arcanoloth.
Well, I mean, I'm not making huge leaps here, man.
He could be a furry.
You know, I don't want to go. I've changed my mind.
It's actually a female fox furry called Triss. And Triss eat pork.
Mm. Jesse Park. Tress kiss.
So, you're
Triss
heading
was
to
a
the Fox's
goblin.
Arcana?
Or the armor. Let's go to the armor first. I feel like we're gonna get more mileage out of that. Yeah, all in, everybody.
Yeah,
You're with me?
whatever we got
Yeah.
to sell this wood to, or trade, sell or trade.
You could sell it to either, or trade to either. The armorer can potentially turn it into armor for you guys if you are wanting it turned into armor. But
I don't
otherwise,
think any of us were
they'll
too
just
interested in that, if I do recall.
buy it
Because it was
and
medium, right?
use it. Yes, medium. Or heavy. Medium plus. They only stock spiritual wood armor in large to like a 4XL. So
Okay.
so you're heading to the armorer then?
Yeah.
Okay.
We go.
You do. It's this kind of single-story, stone-walled building. There's just one book, that's why it's single-story. Has a grey tile roof. And as you head in through the... I can never remember what they're called, but you know the, like, flappy tavern doors from Westerns. I can never remember what those are. Just saloon doors. That's the one.
Oh, yeah.
That's good enough. It's got saloon doors on the front. But you can see as you kind of head through them, kind of, there is like a gate bar door that can be swung shut across the saloon doors when it's locked up for the evening. But you head inside and you can see there are suits of armor just kind of hanging on every available space on the walls. There's armor stands with suits of armor from them, some of them finished, some of them half finished. And as you head on inside, there's this kind of like 5'2" blue male dragonborn. Some of the scales look kind of scratched and a bit dull, almost like they've been injured in armoring accidents. And he looks up at you and, welcome to Sisuela's Armor and Shields. How can I help you? And places his kind of like left forearm across the counter, and you can see the wrist where the hand would be just ends in like a little metal topper and a hammer instead of a hand.
Lost limbs in this city.
Or
Dangerous
replaced.
city. Greetings, salutations.
Greetings and
yes,
salutations to yourself.
We are here to perhaps sell some items, perhaps buy some items. A little of the old give and take. Capitalism.
My favorite word. Please, come. Gestures you over to the counter. What can I do for you?
Well, we have some of the old, I keep wanting to say Aberwood, spiritual wood that we have procured and looking to offload, perhaps in a trade if probably my good friend Warden here sees anything of interest.
Excellent. How much spiritual wood do you have then?
Well, that's a good question because we had it all in a pile, but then we all split it up amongst each other. So I have 3.
Let's see. I have.
You can also click the little drop down arrow next to your spiritual wood and press add to shared treasure.
Yeah, why don't
I
we
have
just leave it in there?
1 spiritual wood.
I'll throw Mura's in there if you guys are selling everyone's.
Please.
I believe that was the plan last time
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah.
We decided
just,
none of us could actually
Might as
use
well
it.
split it because you can.
All right.
Let's get that fun feature that lets us do it. So,
did
Disappeared.
Yeah.
I added it, but it's not there. Oh wait,
I can see it, so that's fine.
but it just says 1. 1 and
Yes.
1.
Can I amend that? No.
So I definitely had 3.
Yes. Pick treasure, add items. Is it in here now as an item? No. Cool. That's fine. I know we'll just add 2 to the end total. How much does Warden have? It's also only showing 2 in there at the moment instead of
Yeah.
5. Well, I'm just going to delete those and we'll go off what it says in the chat. Because it also drops them into the chat box.
3, 4, 5. Plus any Warden has. I don't.
I think I
Warden
gave it
has
to you
1.
guys.
6 total. We have 6 units, I believe you call them, of spiritual wood.
Excellent. Well, do bear with me one moment while I fuck around with my virtual tabletop. And then I'll return to my real tabletop and we can do business.
she just kind of zones out.
Yeah. Just swiping at the air in front of him. Here it is, the contents page. Ah, I see. Very well. Yes. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Quite. Yes. Excellent. Here we are. Well, spiritual wood. For 6 pieces of spiritual wood. Tell you what. rather than attempt to do a trade now, I'll simply tell you the gold value of what I would give you if you were just to sell it to me. And then, if you wish to just sell it, you can just sell it. Or if you want to do any trades, we can just take it off that gold pot. How does that sound?
Most wise. So you are shrewd eye for business, I can tell.
That I do, and he pulls an abacus out from under the counter and starts sliding the beads across. 6. It's that much each. Be willing to give you 1,500 gold for the lot.
Chester tries not to look too excited about the most amount of gold he's had in a long time. Yeah, that's fairly significant for this spiritual wood. However, I should mention this tree that we got these from was named Syldaris, the most famous of all trees in the known worlds, and had a dryad carve off these pieces specifically because we helped her find a boyfriend.
Make a deception
Perhaps you
check.
could do, with that in mind, a little better. Deception. All right. 12.
He reaches into the top pocket of the robes he's wearing and slides a monocle onto one eye and holds up a piece of the wood. The wood was retrieved by a dryad, you say?
I do say that, yes.
And he slides the monocle back in and... Well, I certainly wouldn't want to accuse you of anything, but if... I do, of course, beg my pardon, but this almost looks like it was ripped from a tree.
She was very strong.
She was buff as fuck.
Yeah, you see a buff dryad? I do declare.
Got a moose to help her. You know, he came over and he was.
I'm afraid I can really only do 1,500 for this.
Let me confer with my compatriots, if that is sufficient. And he
Of course.
turns around. I think it's pretty good.
Guys! Wait a minute!
That's
The price is
Fine with me.
unfair.
Yeah. All right. Let's just pretend we're talking a little more. How you guys doing anyway?
I'm delightful. This is quite the experience.
Yeah, you are. All right.
Peachy.
Peachy. he turns back. All right. You have yourself a deal. And he places them. I guess they're already on the counter.
Excellent. Well, do please feel free to peruse and bear in mind, currently, you have a pot of 1,500 gold that can either be used to buy anything in this shop or return to you as a sum of gold. Do also bear in mind that amongst not only the armor and shields, but I'm also quite proficient in masks. And he brings a small box out from under the counter and opens it, and you can see there's an assortment of different kind of wood, metal, stone masks lying on like a velvet pillow.
Somebody stop me.
Is this a JoJo reference?
Not this one,
Oh, thank God.
but if you go next door to my friend's shop, Dio's Masks, that one is a JoJo reference.
Guys, we need to avoid the shop like the fucking plague.
You do have to be careful if you are choosing to approach him. But anyway, do please peruse at your whim.
If I may just inquire,
Yes.
I was once in possession, I sadly had to pawn it, a fine suit of studded leather glamored armor. You don't perhaps have anything like that on premises?
Glamour studded leather.
Yes.
do bear with me one moment. And he reaches under the counter and pulls out a small mechanical owl figurine and just kind of pats it twice on the head. You see the eyes open, and I'll be right back, and heads into a back room.
Oh. Security system?
And you can just hear the quiet ticking of the gears in this arcano-mechanical owl. Control F. Glam. Is it Glamour Weave? Glamour Weave, isn't it? Yes.
No.
No?
Glamored studded leather armor.
Yes, glamored studded leather. Completely different.
Yep. From my
Wow.
backstory, no less, that I had to pawn it.
Whew. Well, according to the Discerning Merchant's price guide, you got a lot of money for that.
All gone now.
Why is it so much? What does glamored studded leather give you?
How much is it? Shouldn't
You'll
be that
find
much. I
out
think it's
momentarily when the shopkeeper returns.
I think it's only uncommon. Would you recall? Let me see.
It says rare on here.
No.
Glamored
Oh, it is
studded
rare.
leather.
Shoot.
Is a s-
Never mind.
Unless you were thinking of the Glamour Weave armor itself, because Glamour Weave
No. I was
is
thinking
something
of this. I think it was
different,
rare.
which is uncommon, and maybe that's where the
All right.
confusion is.
Maybe he'll wait until he's
Because the
back
glamored
in.
studded leather, glamored
Yeah, it
studded
is
leather
rare.
is a +1 to AC, and you can use a bonus action to make it change how it looks. He comes back holding a set of studded leather, and I do happen to have one piece that fits that description, but it'll run you 4,800 gold pieces.
Yeah. It is the most fine craftsmanship. I will have to contemplate
It
these
is.
purchase.
My heart does ache knowing that you were once in possession of such a fine suit. Presumably not the one crafted by myself. That is, of course, a level above anything else you might find anywhere else.
Well, if any of your wares have made their way to Dragon's Reach, Dragon's End,
Dragon's End. Dragon's Reach is Skyrim next door.
yeah, then perhaps it was one of yours. But if not, it was somebody else's.
It's always possible. I have visited Dragon's End once or twice myself. Tell me, have you ever been... the name escapes me, but I do remember visiting a tavern around there, and there was some sort of awful hubbub about a gold piece glued to the floor that no one could seem to pick up.
Yeah, that is. Huh. Ha. Normally a little quicker on the uptake. Anyway.
Quite bizarre, frankly, in how it became
yes.
any sort of tourist attraction is beyond me. I mean, it's a gold piece that's on the floor, but I suppose the attraction of the fact that no one seems to be able to pick it up is quite amusing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Warden, you wanted to look at
Lindsay's
some
like,
armor video?
you're welcome.
Yes. Yeah, I like to look at the armor, see what he has.
Yeah. There is a fair bit of armor up on offer. There are some extras that I haven't had a chance to throw into Shard yet. In the distance, you can hear Mura shouting, "I found him!" as the harmonica starts. But he does have all sorts, including some of my extra stuff like buckler shields, tower shields, the works, really.
Works.
And as you are starting to peruse, he kind of like cranes ahead over to watch you as you go. And he's, but do bear in mind as well, there's been some recent endeavors. I learnt a few things from some Goliaths that I have befriended, other Goliath smiths and some of the local dwarves, and they have taught me a thing or two about rune smithing. I can't say that I have any particularly powerful runes to hand, but I do have some armor sets in here that are socketed and ready to receive runes to empower them. Not too dissimilar to how one might enchant a piece of armor, but without having to know how to enchant a piece of armor. I'm not the best at that. I usually pay for someone else to do it. But with that in mind, what are you looking for? Is there anything in particular you're looking for? Rather than me just
I guess,
reading a list of everything he might possibly have.
looking around just for like anything better than chainmail, so like plate, just half plate.
Didn't want to open that up. Go away. Yeah, so there are kind of different sets of half plate. I think that's still the same actually, so screw that. They've just renamed the half plate into a brigandine. And renamed splint into half plate. That's fine. There are there are a few sets of chainmail, which are available. They are on stands. They are for the most part they are. Sorry, I'm looking through things at the same time. For the most part, they're all just kind of standard metal. But you do start to see some others kind of around and above these sets that are made of other materials. You can see, in terms of suits made of other materials, material description, here we go. You can see there's a couple of sets of chitin plate that are made from some sort of creature chitin. Which, above game, because I might as well just tell you what these things do just to make life easier. Chitin armor reduces the strength requirement of a set of medium or heavy armor by 1. If it has a strength requirement. You can see a full set of adamantine armor, which of course has a price tag of 200,000 gold pieces, because fuck you cancelling my crits. There's other ways to kill you, it's fine. You can see there's a couple of sets that appear to be made from various types of stone. One is kind of a bit more blue and almost seems to have like bits of seaweed and moss hanging from it, but as you kind of look closer you can see it's almost like impressions that were left on the stone rather than actually bits of vegetables hanging from your armor.
Like fossils?
Yeah. There is also you can see a very, very finely crafted set, very clearly elven in make, of mithril plate. And then right next to it, a very clearly dwarven made set of this almost kind of glass-like stone, very deep purple, with effectively kind of like spikes all over the armor. Those are the notable sets of plate mail. If you're looking for plate,
I know I can't afford the mithril, but how much?
the mithril armor. Well, if you're looking to buy the plate mithril, that will run you 1,450 gold pieces.
Yeah, I figured. Okay. Just looking.
That's quite
So
all right.
how much did we get?
1,500.
375 each.
370. Okay, let
Thank
me
you,
add that.
calculator.
Let me go ahead and add that to my sheet.
Mhm.
'Cause she needs her money.
So,
I like how there was
much-
the brief moment of hope in Ethan's eyes when he remembered they had 1,500, and then everyone's like, "Yeah, cool, I'm taking my share."
yeah, no, I wouldn't take the whole.
No,
I
no.
wouldn't take the whole pot. No.
Not unless you just single-handedly saved all three of the rest of them from like a big fight. Then they might be like, "You deserve it, buddy."
Yeah, guys, I think we can take on like 3 owl bears. We took on one
Owl
before.
barrels are
Mhm.
infinitely
Owl
worse
barrels,
than owl bears.
Sorry,
It's
it's
just a barrel
early.
full of owls.
So what was the last one the dwarven made one?
That is a set of obsidian plate.
Hmm.
And the obsidian armor will cost you 1,250. I do have other sets of obsidian armor if the plate mail is a bit too much for your liking. And above game, if anyone's grappling you while you're wearing obsidian armor, they take 1d4 slashing damage.
Yeah, do they have that in like half plate?
You got this in a medium.
Let's see.
Of course, sir, we do.
And how much would the half plate version of that be?
That is a very good question. No.
I
need
don't
to just.
understand. My virus protection settings are not allowing me to download anything. This
Oh,
PDF. I've tried 2 different browsers and it's like, nope.
love
So I've got
that.
something protecting the shit out of me. But it needs to back off a little bit. Anyway, sorry.
I need to
Kathy,
just print
calm down.
myself. That's why it's because it's McAfee.
I don't know which one to use.
I need to just print myself the standard equipment list, and it would save so much of my life. But it's fine because it's loading now. Half plate armor. The obsidian half plate. Will cost you 1,000 gold pieces. I do have regular half plate for 750 if you would like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I go. What is this? Just regular. Let me see. 750, you say?
Yes.
How much is just chainmail? Like, what if I can I trade it, like, to add on to it?
Because you bought the chain recently, didn't you?
No, it's just standard equipment.
Oh. Chain mail or chain shirt?
Chainmail.
is apparently 75 gold, which I guess is why it's a starting equipment.
So 75 clothes.
A close area.
Should be pretty close. Let me get my calculator out.
Just use this abacus.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You look at the abacus, and each of the little counters that you slide across is a different dragon's head. So, like, each tier of it is a different color of dragon's head.
Sorry, how much was chainmail again? 75?
75.
Yes. So I would have 755 total. And how much was the regular half plate?
750.
750. Okay, yeah, I would have enough with 5 left over.
If you decide to go that route, your lodgings and other incidentals are on me for the next little while. So don't worry about that too much.
That's just a
Such lovely
generous offer.
camaraderie.
Mm.
I mean, I usually hide behind them, so
Understandable,
Very
he's
fair.
quite large.
Can I also sell these fine clothes as well?
Certainly.
How much would that go for?
2,000 gold.
oh, very fun.
Like seven gold.
The
5
finest
silver.
clothes in all the land. 15 gold pieces, which, to be fair, is still a lot for clothes.
That's a $1,500 suit.
They are some very
So-
fine clothes.
Mm-hmm.
That's 750.
Kanye West, fine. It's the only famous person I could think of. Don't judge me.
No, I
Alright.
love it.
I have no idea what he wears.
It just conjures such an immediate image of the ridiculous
Oh, sorry.
stuff that he wears.
How about Billy Porter? How about that instead?
Also good.
That reference. I like that
I don't know
reference.
who that is. I'm gonna Google.
I tell you what, seeing as you've brought
Oh,
me
yeah.
enough spiritual wood to make 2 sets of armor with, for the same price as the regular half plate, I could give you a proofed half plate. It is ready to receive runes or any special tinkering that might begin to give it special properties. Usually it would carry a small extra price tag. But good business is repeat business.
That is fair.
But for an extra 100 gold pieces, we can equip a climbing harness to it. I love the armor upgrades that are in this book. They're so cool. They're so fun.
Let me see real quick, just to make sure that my math is right.
So would these upgrades be fashioned into existing armor, or you would have to buy the special armor that necessitates their integration?
Yes and no. Upgrades can be facilitated into existing armor. There is a small cost surrounding taking a piece of armor that someone already has that is not proofed. And ready to be upgraded. Some people might charge you to have it ready. But other than that, for the most part, as long as your suit of armor or whatever it may be, whether it's a weapon as well, it can be done on weapons as well. if it satisfies certain prerequisites, shall we say, given roughly a day of work and a small nominal fee, someone who is able to do so could, for example, turn this half plate into insulated half plate or muffled, make it, quieter. We can install locking joints if you're someone who gets pushed around a lot in fights, so that you can sort of lock the joints on the armor and it prevents you from being shoved over onto the ground. We can add spikes to it, which a lot of dwarves seem to love. Or it can just be reinforced, or quick release clasps can be fitted to allow it to be quickly doffed.
Also, I made an oopsie. I actually meant splint armor instead of half plate.
That's
I got them mixed up.
fine.
So
you're buying splint.
yes, I always get those two mixed up.
That is 450 gold.
Much better.
Yes.
Yeah,
I do believe.
less scary.
Yeah. So the big thing with splint versus half plate is that a half plate is actually medium armor.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
goes off dex,
Which is why I was like, okay.
I mean, Warden
if
has
that's what you
decent
want.
dex. I mean, Warden does have pretty decent dex. He's got like a 15 in dex.
Oh,
so...
no. Tell a lie. Splint armor is 200 gold. I was reading the wrong thing.
Even better.
Even better.
Maybe you could get a little upgrade in it now as well.
Yeah.
You most certainly could. Apologies, I thought you were perusing our half plate. My eyes aren't quite what they used to be. I do have varying degrees of splint, and he basically has the same array of splint as he had of half plate. So if you were
Wow.
still wanting the obsidian, that would only cost you about 700 gold for obsidian splint mail.
Yeah. Same offer with the enchantment slot.
Well, if you're buying the obsidian, perhaps not. But if you're buying just the standard splint, then I could throw in a runic armor. You see, generally, to upgrade a piece of armor and have it able to facilitate runes, we would usually add a surcharge of about 400 gold. So it's sort of in the place of a special material. You could have a piece of runic armor.
Okay. So that was 700 for the obsidian one.
Yes.
Awesome. I think I will do that.
Okie dokie. It won't be in shard, so just add, because I just haven't got the time at the moment to add variants of every material to every armor.
For shame.
So if you just have the splint, and then just click on it and click edit attributes, you can add obsidian to the front of it.
Okay. Buy chainmail, buy fine clothes. Yeah. Add.
Excellent. With that, maybe as Warden buys his splint mail, I think now is a good time to head for a break.
Right.
Hey.
So we're going to have a little 10-minute break, and we will be right back. Goodbye.
Goodbye. So
And we're back.
good.
Even though the stream preview is showing that there's 8 minutes left on the break, because that's how far behind it's got, because apparently I'm having massive problems today, so I apologise to everyone who's watching. Hopefully the VOD's fine. Hello, if you're watching the VOD. Hopefully it's fine.
Hello.
Hi, VOD watchers. I love you.
We do.
I'm a
Feel
VOD
warmly
watcher.
toward you.
We return to the shop as Mira comes running back the other way, following the frantically harmonica playing man.
Yep. There.
What would you guys like to do? So, nearly called him Chester. Warden has bought his splint and sold his stuff. Anything else wanted from within this shop?
I mean, yeah, but it's very expensive. I'll have to get mine back one day. One day.
Yeah. Morton just probably comes out of the back room wearing his new fancy digs.
Styling, profiling.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I wish we had done some sort of montage of you trying on different armors.
yeah.
Maybe next time.
Excellent. So, onwards to the Fox's Arcana.
Magic shop. Magic shop.
Okay. You head down the street, following the signs, to the Fox's Arcana. As you approach the shop, there is an explosion. The shop detonates. No more shop.
Oh, it was one of those timed events.
That's okay. It's really hard to destroy magic items. Start scavenging.
Loot!
Yeah. Go crazy.
The whole street just dives in.
Loot for your lives.
Riot! Cool. So you you head to the Fox's Arcana.
The
This
fox
is why I don't eat seconds before we restart. I've just got food all over me. But it's fine. You head across. What does the building look like? That would help. Single story shop. It is kind of timber and brick, with like as you head in, a tiled mosaic floor, that's polished to kind of such a high sheen that you can almost kind of see the ceiling, which is somewhat similarly polished, and they're both so reflective that you're getting this almost infinity mirror vibe as you kind of look down at the floor and can just see the infinite reflection. And as you look around, the walls are just engraved with runes of various degrees. Some Linger would just immediately be able to know are just purely for display. It's just kind of like a light rune, or like you look at it and it's like, when this rune is completed, it will light up this color. And that's about it. Some of them are purely for display. You do notice, you'll get the tingle for sure. And it's quite clear and easy, and it's not like there's any need to necessarily make you roll for these ones, because it's purely for role playing. So it's more fun this way. There are very clearly protective wards and protective runes placed around the shop, kind of interspersed with the more innocuous ones. So you kind of get the sense that it's almost, if someone wasn't as good at magic, they'd see the ones that don't really do anything besides lighting up and assume they're all this way. The ones that have a specific purpose have been engraved in such a way that they look very similar. But of course, to those who are trained, it's very clear that they are magical runes of protection and alarming and incinerate the person that tries to walk out the door with items that they've stolen and, you know, the usual. But
So Chester know that.
Chester knows everything.
Knows enough not to steal from a magic shop. Probably learned the hard way, but
Knows that's usually a bad time.
Yeah, usually that's a bad idea.
Can see Linger squinting at the runes and realizes there's probably something more to a few of them, otherwise it would have been a cursory, disapproving glance.
That's true. That's valid.
Everyone can probably see the interest
Yeah.
and not just, ugh, all for show, really? Ugh. Ugh.
She leans into a couple. Her tail is doing its cat twitch, showing that she's focused, ready to pounce on things.
At which point you hear, "Hello, can I help you?" As a female Arcanoloth comes trotting out from behind the counter.
No, you go ahead.
Rubbing my hands together in
Yes.
excitement of what's about to happen in this magic shop. Because we're going to buy some magic items, I do believe. My name is Chester. Pleased to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. I'm Pariah.
It's a beautiful name for a fellow furry friend.
Thank you.
Can we just peruse your wares? You have any sales perhaps going on?
Of course. I do currently have a bit of a sale going on, yes. My last order of spell scribing equipment, they accidentally delivered double. I didn't order double, they accidentally delivered it, so rather than charge me for double, they simply just let me keep the extra. So we do have a 2-for-1 on spell paper, charcoal, spell ink, quills, and parchment.
I don't think any of us are interested in that.
Nope, cool, leave.
I'll take note of it. You know, no reason to show your hand right off the bat.
Wow, it's a shrewd
This is why we
shopper.
like Linger.
Wait.
Very well. If you wish to peruse, do please feel free to peruse. If there's anything specific you want, and you should find yourself too far away from the counter to call out for me, simply clap twice like this, and one of the unseen servants will take your order for you.
Most kind. Before you leave, there actually was one item that I thought maybe you might have available. Have
The
you
Sphere
ever
of
heard
Annihilation, yes. But no amulet to control it. Wild!
Save that for a third date, perhaps. Boots of elven kind. Somewhat
elven kind.
uncommon item, you might
Yes.
say.
I certainly would. And she kind of flicks her wrist and a long scroll appears and she starts reading through it. Let me just check our stock on that. See, we did
Thank
have
you.
previously. Let me just double check if we still have any that we can provide. Yes, we do have 2 more pairs. Not to worry about the sizing, they will magically refit your feet. If you're interested, they're 400 gold.
400. Well, perhaps I will wait for my friends here to see if there's anything they wish to purchase, and then we can put them all in a pile and see if any sort of discount will magically show up. But I will
Excellent.
say I will most likely take these. Yes.
Very well. I am also open to trades and to selling. Well, I'll purchase it from you. You're selling it to me. But if there are no other requests, then I shall return to my scroll. She heads back to the counter and starts scribbling on a piece of parchment that's laid out across half of it.
Kids these days always on their scrolls.
Right. It probably wouldn't hurt. We can talk above table for a second and plan. To have at least a bag of holding, since we have a bath bomb bag of holding, but not an actual bag of holding.
Definitely.
And then if there are, like, if for some reason they have an arcane grimoire and for some reason I can afford it, I would get that and feed it to my book. Just for that +1 bonus. But or even in well, I don't need an endearing spellbook in my book. I'm looking through items. Linger's not gonna wear a hat. It's not.
But she looks so
the-
cute though.
The big friend wizard hat.
These
Yeah.
making a strength-based rogue kind of needs something with my shitty dex here. So
Maybe a hat of wizardry.
The Hat of Wizardry is easily one of my favorite items in the game.
I mean, I'll have to reflavor it to something, not a giant pointy hat that says I'm a wizard.
Will you?
Yeah. Otherwise, she just won't buy it, and then we move on
That's
with our
fair.
lives.
The headdress of wizardry.
Wear like a headband.
Can I
Tiara
clap
of
and get a
wizardry.
price on the bag of holding? A bag
Yep.
of holding?
You clap, you request a bag of holding. There is a brief pause, and you can see a bag floating towards you. And there is a small tag hanging off the side of it that says 500 gold.
Okay. So that'd be 100 each. I assume that we're gonna do it that way, anyways. Maybe I
What's
shouldn't
500?
assume.
There's only 4 of us.
Oh, oh my god.
So when
It's okay, guys. I'll
125
chip in 100 gold.
Yeah,
Where's the deal?
get a picture. Come on. All right, 125. Well, maybe we can get it down to 400.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna buy these boots that are 400.
I wish I could log into anything on my computer right now. That'd be gnarly.
No.
You want me to check something for you?
No, I'm just. To be quite honest, I'm trying to get to my copy of the Discerning
Discerning
Merchant Guide
Merchants.
because I don't want to have to ask this thing 400 times what the price of something is. So I just want to see what the price is and then ask if they have it. 'Cause
Which is
I'm trying to be a-
completely fair enough.
But seeing as how,
It's slowly sending to you as the music detunes.
well, it doesn't matter if you send it to me because I can't download it.
It's worth a try.
Can
I was
you
trying to just
put it
get-
in the chat? Actually, I wouldn't mind having a look at it
No, I
if you're
can't.
able to.
Screw you.
All right,
You're not
so
allowed it.
Are there any of the hats of wizardry, headband, a modest headband of wizardry?
Badass bandana of wizardry. What does the Hat of Wizardry actually do? I always forget.
You get a cantrip a day or something like that.
Of your choice?
All right.
Yeah.
Let me just go.
Attunable only
This-
by a wizard. Of course it is.
Yeah. You can try to cast a cantrip that you don't know. The cantrip must be on the wizard list. You must make a DC 10 Arcana check. If it succeeds, you cast the spell. If it doesn't. You can't do it again until you finish a long rest. So like once a day, she can try to do something.
Like an artificer all-purpose tool, but not as good.
Yeah.
There are a few Hats of Wizardry in varying styles.
Maybe it's like a headband, but it's got like some pretty like lacy cloth that covers
for
the
the
back of the head,
horns.
and it's just no, it doesn't drape over the horns.
Oh.
It fits under. It goes down.
Nice.
I'll draw it. It'll be fine.
Excellent. There are a few. And
Okay.
they are going for 50 gold.
All right, I'll do that.
Oh, 50.
Linga now has a witch's hat. It's canon.
Totally.
If we all say it's canon, she can't disagree. It's not her character, it's our character.
However, Rip will be happy to wear a little pointy hat.
Yes. Rip probably
let's
has
see.
multiple.
Rip needs his own tiny little like clothing bag of holding, or a teeny tiny. Oh, while I'm here, do they have a teeny tiny shift weave? It just needs to be about 4 inches or so tall. Teeny tiny shift weave.
As it just so happens, they do have Shiftweave 4 Familiars new for this season.
Mm.
And it's 5 gold.
I'll take it.
It's in like a little display case, like the one Woody's in Toy Story, when he gets his
Nice.
arm ripped off. Spoilers for anyone who somehow hasn't seen Toy Story 2. And it just has like a little mannequin modeling the shift weave. The one that's in the display case is slowly shifting through various designs and patterns. And Linga's attention is immediately drawn to it by the incessant tugging at her horns and pointing of Rip.
Yes, we buy that for Rip. Do they have a teeny tiny hat of disguise? No. Yes?
No, unfortunately not.
Mm. A girl can dream. Let's see what else we got here. Robe of the Arch Magi, probably no. Bit much. What? Why would I even need this? No, I think all the other items that I wanted for her, like we've talked about, it's gonna need to be found. So yeah, the spell paper and charcoal.
Mhm.
It's the vaguely, just like a little interested in that, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Wands? Do they have any wands?
Yeah, there are some
Maybe.
wands around. There's a nice kind of like display of wands, each set in cases. Like when you go on the Harry Potter studio tour. Which I'm sure all the Americans have done countless times.
I've been to the Hogwarts area at Universal. It's close enough, right?
I'm sure it
Yeah,
probably has a
I've done
similar.
Uh-huh.
It definitely has a similar
Oh man, my sister
shop
got,
display of wands.
My sister
Yeah.
got chosen for the wand ceremony.
Oh,
My
yeah.
son did.
But like the thing is, my sister it's my older sister. She's like in her 30s, and she had to down like a whole thing of she basically had to shotgun her beer before going in. It started raining because it's in Florida,
Oh yeah.
and it's like, hey, let's just go do the wand thing while it's raining because that's inside. But they won't let you bring your beer in, so she shotgunned it, and it was just so giddy that he chose her.
Yeah, it was like the most beautiful thing when it happened to Fletch because he was like 10 at the time and was a big Harry. Like we watched Harry Potter so many times and he read all the books, and so he wanted to go to the wand store so bad. But he's also kind of standoffish, so he wasn't like one of the kids that was like pick me. But they picked him anyway, and he just like, I'm not a teary person, but like I started crying for him because it was just like such a cool moment for him.
Oh yeah, my sister loved it. It was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my story.
So
That rings of spell story.
there are a lot of
gonna
ones on sale.
Ones.
There's
Any that say a war mage might pick up? I don't
there are a number of wands of smiles. There is one very heavily locked away behind multiple display cases and layers of security and arcane runes. Wand of the War Mage.
How much is that? How much is that bad boy back
400
there?
gold pieces.
Not horrible.
There is also a Wand of Secrets and a Wand of Magic Detection. And by a, I mean many.
How much is the magic detection one?
150.
Can Linger detect magic already? I mean, that would be nice to.
It's
You
just
know, you wouldn't need
free uses of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I'll
what
have
makes
to
them
check,
useful.
but-
And there are also, for a range of prices and a range of styles and varieties, from some rather shoddy looking ones for 10 copper pieces to some very sturdy looking ones for 5 silver pieces. There are varying styles and degrees of wand bandoliers and holsters
Mm-hmm.
for those of
Well, I'm
you who
gonna
wish to carry around multiple wands.
Probably need to. How much is a bandolier?
You can get a
For
bandolier
wands.
to hold like 5 wands for 5 silver,
Okay.
and it looks
Does it
pretty
need to
sturdy.
be a bandolier, or can we get like a belt?
Yeah, you can get a belt.
Okay. She doesn't really like, it's across the chest. And it's a lot. Or unless you could do it like behind her back, that'd be kind of cool. Like how people put their swords up in there, and instead it's wands.
Sure.
I want to do that. Yeah.
How about a head bandolier and they're all just like poking out of your head and you
There
can
you
like
go.
pull them out
Like a
that.
crown.
Like a sun crown, but it's wands, and she just
And it's one.
nods her head. One of them goes off. Which one? Is it the smiles or is it the fireballs? We don't know.
It's like a beholder, basically.
New build idea.
Mm.
Let me add up my monies here. She does have magic detection, but getting 3 easy uses a day.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just helpful. Spell slots reserved for blasting teachers out of windows. Am I right, Linger?
What? Yes.
Who needs to detect magic when you can disintegrate the head of enchanting?
Yeah. Enchanting. Right. That's all he does.
Yeah, sorry, he builds schools for blind children as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then trains them up to be his dark army.
Sanguinates them and throws them up.
Is there anything else anyone's wanting in the meantime? Maybe a spider staff to go with Linga's new spider spell she's working on?
What does a spider staff do?
I can't remember. I've just seen it.
So what were the wands again? We got detect magic. There was wand of secrets. How much is that bad boy?
The Wand of Secrets. The price is a secret. For the low cost of 125 gold pieces, they will tell you the secret of how much the wand costs. Spoiler alert, it's 125 gold pieces.
All right, I'll put that in a maybe over here. You guys can keep going. Don't wait for me to just be silly over here.
No, you're fine.
I will forget to use a Ring of Store spelling. I will forget to use a Pearl of Power. What else can I get a wizard that I won't straight up forget? Taking suggestions. Anybody has?
You know what, I
Oh,
can
that's pretty
control
cool. The spider staff. The top of this black adamantine staff is shaped like a spider. The staff weighs 6 pounds, you must be attuned to it, blah blah blah. Can be wielded as a quarter staff, does 1d6 poison damage on a hit when used to make a weapon attack, has 10 charges to use the spells within it. You can use your action to cast spider climb or web, no components needed. That's fun. Probably
Yeah,
a
how
drow
much is
weapon. How much is the spider staff?
Yeah.
I mean, that was raised mostly as a joke because it's pretty expensive, I think. Spider staff, 1,750 gold pieces.
Okay. So for later. For later.
Yeah. A couple more jobs done and no problem.
Yeah. Let's see. Probably don't need to be looking at anything over uncommon. So let's filter that. What about the arcane grimoires?
No books. This is a magic shop. Why would they have books? Ugh.
What about spell scrolls? Got any of those? We like those.
I mean, yes, and yes.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few grimoires lying around. 3, to be precise. And they range in runes used to protect them and prices. The cheapest being 425 gold pieces.
All right, probably not that. But what about scrolls? Fun scrolls.
Oh yeah, we got scrolls. You want scrolls? We got scrolls. If this could just
Do we?
fuck off, that would be great. Thank you. So they are arranged by this somewhat helpful list next to them, where they kind of just have a list of basically price by spell level for the scrolls, and then the scrolls are arranged by spell level rather than spell.
Okay.
So cantrips are 15 gold, first level are 25, second level are 150, third level are 400, fourth level are 800, and fifth level are 1500. Scroll of Protection is separate and it's 3,500. Sixth level is 2,000, and I presume Linga stops reading there.
Yeah. All right. Well, while she's doing that, if you guys want to...
There is also a small note at the bottom that says, Scroll of Tarask Summoning, 150,000 gold pieces. I hate that I just watched you make a note of that. I'm gonna have to make sure that by the end of the campaign, your total party gold only adds up to 149999.
Right.
And I'll negotiate a lower price.
just making sure that I have the name of the shop, the price, the scroll, the city. All right, we're good. Got all the pertinence.
The one thing that
Alright,
Lindsay
so
will
we-
never forget is the fact that that scroll is here.
Mhm.
We good to total our items. And see if we can negotiate a little discount on the bag of holding.
Yeah, I think so. Hey,
So-
Mitch, instead of
Yes.
spending 1,000,000 hours going through these spells, can we just say that she gets like 2 level 1s, and then
Uh-huh.
you and I can negotiate what those are later?
Uh-huh. That's a perfectly reasonable
Okay.
thing to do. No, I'm not going to allow you to be reasonable.
Okay.
D&D is not a game where people are supposed to be reasonable.
Also, I should say, and this may affect you, Linga, I do have my eye on this rapier of warning. Can't quite afford it yet, but another job or two, and I should easily be able to afford. So we can always come back here. So
Okay.
just, keep that in mind. We don't got to blow our whole wad here.
Chester is very cautious to never blow it early.
Yeah. Right. How much is the paper and stuff? Just in case I do want to.
The usual price. The usual price for spell stuff paper, but it's 2 for 1.
Don't know what that price is, man. 5 gold, 10 gold.
Mhm.
1 sheet of parchment, because I think all you really need is just parchment, isn't it? Is 1 silver. Because what takes the time and the money for copying the spells, right, is imbuing the parchment. It doesn't have to be. Does it have to be
Yeah.
special parchment? You make it special,
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
you?
it's
That's why
gotta
it
be
takes so
special.
long.
Yeah. And it's
there's
her
not-
whole subclass, so
Yeah.
we're good.
And it's also not. There's never like a thing in the equipment for like spell stuff.
Yeah.
You don't need ink, do you?
I do not.
Cool.
But I do want chalk, though, if there's chalk, because there are spells that eventually take chalk.
Yeah,
but
there's-
we can.
Various spell components: chalk, charcoal. 1 piece of chalk is 1 copper.
I'll just do 10 gold, and we can talk about it later.
Mhm. There is like a
I'll just make a note.
various
that's
bins
sundry.
of spell components that people can just dig through. Grab a scoop of components now and pay the price for the weight of the components.
Is it like the dice bin at Gen Con where you can just like
Yeah,
whatever you can grab with your one hand?
you just get a
All
scoop
that.
of components, and that's what
Love
you pay
it.
for.
All right, so this was.
All right, so I'm spending 400 on the boots, and you're spending.
Spending, it looks like 390 gold and 5 silver.
391. And then the bag of holding is 500. So that is a total of math. $1,291. I'm wondering, once he gets the attention of the lovely fox lady, who I'm picturing Maid Marian from the Disney
Wait, hold
animated Robin Hood.
Sorry, pause. I think I wrote down something wrong. The wand of the war mage was 400, right?
So, you are right.
Sorry. I may have,
If you
I
ask
didn't
him
write it down.
nicely, it might be. Depends which war mage you're asking, to be perfectly honest.
All right, well, that gets
shields,
me up
armor,
to
rods.
790. So I just wanted to make sure
Yes.
I gave
400.
Chester the right number for his
We definitely
negotiations.
got a good deal done. Plus 500. 1,690. So I'm wondering, madam, if perhaps rather than 500 for the bag of holding, we are a party of 4, and it would make it much easier if we could each pitch in 100, bringing the total of that to 400. What do you say, madam?
Oh, I only have 70.
She
I'll pay that.
she kind of looks over her glasses at you and I have a counter proposal.
If it has to do with rats in your basement, I'm afraid.
There are slimes in my basement.
Much better.
No, she kind of leans forward a little bit and I'm always on the lookout for specific items and also other generic items as well, but
So basically, just items.
in a broad sense, yes. But there are, I mean, I'm always happy for items in general, but there are often specifics that I'm looking for. Unfortunately, my PDF is fucking me in the ass right now.
Rough.
Beware paper cuts. I guess that would be a printed PDF.
Don't even remember what all I wrote down numbers for.
I was supposed to receive a delivery of some charged aerocrystals. That delivery was attacked on the way, and charged aerocrystals can be very volatile. From the survivor, I understand that most of them exploded and the bandits fled the scene. If you were able to venture out of the city and find out if any of the charged aerocrystals remain, procure them and return them to me. I will happily give you that bag of holding for now at the price of 400. Depending on how many aerocrystals you return to me, I might be willing to give you the 400 gold back. How does that sound?
Let me confer with my compatriots. One moment, please.
And potentially some extra.
Ooh, potentially some extra. He does the arms around everyone, as he's wont to do. Wow, that's actually a pretty good deal, I feel like.
I think it's worth our time.
Yeah.
I concur.
Probably going to be headed that way anyways.
Should we just stay? Go ahead.
Please. No, please.
No, after you.
I was just something like we were all in agreement, so I figured that I would just stay in the huddle a little bit longer, like last time.
It's that sort of multiple voids with multiple arrow crystals scenario that I always look for. Anyways, he turns back around. You got yourself a deal, madam.
Excellent.
Yeah, he is assuming everyone pitched in. Don't worry about this for now on. I'll pitch in the 200. You could catch me on the flippity floppity for the bag of holding portion.
I appreciate this. I will pay you back.
I know you're good for it. Okay, so he pulls 600 of his own. So that'll be my boots and the 200 for the bag of holding.
Excellent. Well, and she rolls up the parchment she had been working on and pulls out another piece and starts scrawling on it before tapping the quill on the paper, and you see some of the glowing lines start to rearrange themselves. From what I understand, this is where they were ambushed, and she taps it with the feather of the quill, and you can see a glowing X appear, and the glow starts to fade, and you effectively are given a small scale, because it's not in the city, but a small scale city of where... Let's try that one again. For the fourth time. Small scale map of where the city is, and in relation, a short distance down the road, effectively, is this X that she's marked on the map of the ambush site. She slides it across the table towards you. This is yours, of course, to help you find the site. As I understand it, they were planning to come through the Emerald Ward, so if you exit out of the west gate, you should be able to follow that main road and find it rather quickly.
Perfect. We are on the track of your crystals.
Thank you very much, and do take care. Charged arrow crystals can be quite volatile. They are prone to exploding under too much agitation, which is apparently what happened at the ambush. And if there are any left over, it would do you well to watch where you step.
Well, with these new boots, and he's putting them on, my steps will be most quiet at the very least.
Precisely. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Now, for me,
I think for now, I'm good.
Very well.
Likewise.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for visiting the Fox's Arcana. I do hope to see you again, and do hope that it is in one piece with the arrow crystals.
I'm sure it will. I'm very confident in our abilities.
What would you guys like to do then, as you head on out of the shop?
Who wants to carry this bag of holding, by the way? That should be something we should we go out.
I suppose I can, since Mira already has her bag, unless one of you wants to wear it.
I don't like to spread this around necessarily, but I'm pretty good at carrying things regardless of the magical bag. So, yeah, it makes sense for not me to have it anyway.
I believe you would be most suited to carrying it.
All right. I will add that. So anything you guys want to put in it?
I like the little note that's just popped up in the chat log of added tiny shift weave.
Tiny. If I make the bag of holding a shared thing, can everyone put stuff in it?
I don't know. When you say make it a shared thing,
Like shared treasure. If the bag of holding is shared treasure, can you have
I think that just
containers?
adds it to the shared treasure. No.
Oh man, it's a shame that there's not like a.
Let me check. If I go on edit attributes, container
But
type.
we could just consider the shared treasure to be in the bag of holding if you wanted to go that route.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
I think you can even put notes on your stuff to say this is mine, so that like there's no like,
Yeah.
hey, whose
Ball bearings are the
mason jar of oozes is this?
Oh, that's where I put it.
I have
Yeah,
one of those. I literally have a ooze in a jar.
yeah.
Literally Aleph.
See, now I could go with it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Were you just like, where did you come up with that?
I
You
was
know I
just
have
saying
that?
things as I
Okay.
was talking.
All right. Well, you're a little bit psychic, maybe.
Just some memory was working its way up.
So what would you guys like to do then, as you're rearranging everything into the bag of holding?
We we can walk and talk and make our way to go deal with this, I guess.
Yeah, why not? Why not indeed?
So what are you heading out or heading towards that tavern that Chester had been asking for?
Do you want Chester money or drinks?
Yeah, money. At this point, I just spent most of mine, so you know that feeling you get when suddenly you have way less money than you used to, and you feel, I don't know, naked is the right word necessarily, but naked.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the plan then?
Head out the Emerald Ward gate in search of the stuff. The stuff.
It certainly takes effectively most of a significant portion of what's left of the day to cross this city and get out the other side. But you exit out into the wilderness. You do have a map that takes you directly there, so I'm not going to be a dick about that. But as you are heading along this path, following basically the main road, you pass a fair number of merchants and merchant caravans, a lot more than you passed that were heading through the King's Road. Clearly they come in to the Emerald Ward along this road. This is also, you would obviously note, given that you're heading west, the road that you would be taking to get to Bimbleduke. And you can see just the very, 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 very distant peaks of mountains, very faint in the distance, which are kind of towards the edge of the Sleeping Gardens. But who would like to make either a perception or investigation check? Who's keeping an eye out for this stuff?
I do have the alert feed, so I guess I might.
Yeah, I'm not good at either.
Let me just double check. I don't think. Yeah, I think we're going with passive on that, boss.
So what am I rolling? Investigation, you said?
Oh, well, if it's
Or perception, your choice.
I have
All
a
right, I
plus
can do
8 perception.
And what's
I can do
Linga's
investigation. Plus 7.
You can both roll if you want as well. Or one of you can roll.
I'm gonna hurt for both of us, I guess.
Because alert is initiative and surprise.
Yeah.
Oof. Use that 27.
Nice.
So I'm going to go with the 6. You all trip over aero crystals and they explode. As you're making your way along the road, you can see Linga. So kind of just branching off of the main road, quite dramatically, you can see there are wagon trail tire tracks, which lead off for a short way before there is some sort of heavy impact on the ground and scorch marks. And you can see where they lead off to.
Then,
which given that it's a 27, through the like kind of heavy brush of the surrounding bushes and trees, you can see a very faint, as the sun is setting, trail of smoke.
I believe this is the direction that we need to go. As you can see here, there are tracks, an explosion, more chaos, smoke further on. Once we are closer, I have this handy new wand that will save me some time. The crystals are in themselves magical, so I should be able to very easily detect if there are other ones still in the vicinity.
Mm.
And then we go
got this
home
covered.
heroes, and we're good.
Hey, we came out heroes as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. So are you following the trail?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where the
No, you
smoke
turn
is
around and head
fire.
home.
We're like, nah.
Hmm.
Nah. It's too easy. There's a trap.
Are you being careful in your approach, or are you just heading on over?
Testing my
Trying to
new
be
boots
careful.
out.
I think we're being careful. There's fucking rocks that'll explode on us if we step on them. So we're
Plus, we were told it was attacked, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
by bandits.
I hate
We'll have book in one hand, wand in the other, carefully, and Rip is on her head, keeping watch.
Okay.
As he do.
What is everyone's passive perception?
Crap.
Yeah, where is
I think it's like 11. Let me double check. 11.
13.
Cool. And Chester?
11?
11. So 2 11s and a 13. Am I right in thinking that? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's set Mira to be inactive, because she is. And here we go. Cool. Okay. As you're heading off, following this trail, Warden, you start to pick up the faint sound of voices. Let me drop you guys in so you know where you is at. And because I set Mura to inactive, it hasn't dropped her in. Excellent. So yes, Warden, you can hear coming from this direction, this area here. If that pinged properly, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the smoke now, and you can see the glow of what is clearly a campfire. And you can just kind of hear faintly drifting through the trees. Yeah, I can't believe that was such an easy score. We found so many of them by the road. Still intact, I think. And then you hear a, yeah, I'll go, whoa, fucking, are you mad? Stop hitting him. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, as soon as he hears that, he'll gesture to the others, like, slow down,
Mm.
Just
All
slow
right.
down.
The hydraulics
Slow our roll.
engage, and he crouches.
Yeah. We hunker back, 1 foot behind, lean.
Chester gets his mage hand going, just in case. All right, what's the game plan? gonna sneak up and looks like they got a fire going. We could all just push them in the fire. That's pretty evil, though.
If your mage hand can carry Rip closer, then Rip can sneak closer, and then I can cast a spell through Rip that's worked well for us in the past, as long as you don't want anyone to live.
Which begs the question, do we want people to live? Because I can get them there. I can get them 60 feet away, and it doesn't appear to be that far.
I mean, there's a possibility I won't kill them, but it seems hard to control the amount of arcane flow that passes from myself to Rip.
Might be best to take them alive so we can ask questions.
Wow, I feel like I got a good angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other here. All right, he's going to flip a coin. I mean, I'm going to flip a coin. Let's see.
I think my grandfather was actually a devil, so that does make sense.
I'll just say odds evens because I don't see a D2. Odds is evil, as we all know.
There we go. That's
Yeah,
the campfire there, even though it's massive.
I guess the odds were not in their favor. Yeah, should you wish, I can gently glide Rip over there.
What if we kind of combine? Do we need to capture them? Maybe you could do something theatrical in combination with Rip doing something to make them think that, I don't know, the crystals are cursed or something.
Ooh, I could snuff out a small campfire and then have I don't know if Rip is able to converse with them.
Unfortunately
way.
not.
Who wishes to bargain for their souls?
Someday. Man, when Chester gets greater invisibility, the things
Yeah,
the things we can do.
that'll be nice. That will be nice. Yeah, I could send them there. Turn off the campfire, sending them into a panic. We could perhaps use the simple yelling of our voices. Lay down your arms, and if that doesn't work, then Rip pops off and kills them all. I mean, I do have very minor ability to heal people. I don't know if I've ever used it yet, but I do have it. So if one of them is knocked down, I can, heal them up a little bit.
Well, strangely, I do have the ability to pause death momentarily.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't heal, but it keeps them right on the cusp, right on the edge of life and death.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do that then.
What
So
do you
what's the
think,
plan?
Warden? let's let Warden chime in first before we say there's a plan.
Tentative plan.
Okay, so to recap,
Feel free to nix any of it.
oh boy. So Rip is going in?
So we can. The idea is to send Rip in on the hand, snuff out the fire, have.
You can snuff at the fire. I'd have to be within 10 feet. You have prestidigitation, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But she would also have to get close because Rip can only do touch spells.
Throw Rip
So maybe not
into
that
the
part.
fire.
So we might have to nix the fire part, maybe.
That's okay. That was just flavor.
Yeah. I do have a spell to increase the volume of my voice. You've heard me do that before.
Mm-hmm.
So we can demand surrender either before or after Rip runs up and tries to gently tap one of them and not kill them.
Yeah.
Maybe. Meanwhile, you could circle around and try to grab one of them as they're fleeing, and then we keep that one for questions. Maybe?
I'll try my best.
If you have another plan that is less all of this, that is fine too.
Orange
Happy
drugs.
to hear it. Okay. Then this is what we're doing.
It is just bandits, so
I feel like the thing about plans is you want them to be as complicated as possible, and
And then you improvise.
yeah, and then when they inevitably go to shit, that's when you get your improvisation on.
how do you
Okay.
measure tool?
So
If
I
you
don't
click
remember.
and hold, so it will ping, but then you
Oh, there you
can
go.
measure without moving.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Warden can start circling around while Rip is being carried forward, and then Linger will kind of like sort of circle around.
Oh, you know what? I don't think I've had the chance to use this yet either. Warden, as you go, you'll occasionally hear my voice coming. It's not in your brain, is it? It's like you hear it in
It's
your
a
ear.
whisperer.
A
Yeah.
whisper. You'll hear a whisper in your ear. That's me. You can reply to the message and let me know when you're in place.
Very well. Yeah. Yeah. Warden. So just move him like over here. Sort of
If
thing.
that works for you, that seems
Chester, since he hasn't really had much use of this yet, or at all, he's got his hand up to his face, and then just, are you there yet? Are you there yet? Are you there yet? Are you there yet?
No. Yeah, I can move up here.
okay.
Okay,
And then
As-
Rip will be carried.
nice.
I don't know.
So Warden, are you sneaking around?
Yes.
Give me a stealth check, please.
So be at disadvantage because heavy armor.
Sneaky snake.
Oh shit!
Oh.
Disadvantage.
He knows what he's
Yeah.
doing.
That's still,
Oh,
it's not bad.
I forgot it was disadvantage. It's all right. I just rolled a nat one. Um,
I mean, a 16 is still,
16's awesome.
yeah.
Okay, so as you're sneaking around, you can hear them kind of talking amongst themselves. And you hear, yeah, I can't believe we pulled that one off, to be honest. It's amazing how many people keep falling for the old one of us joins the caravan, and we all get ambushed. And there's one survivor. Well, weird that. And they all start laughing and clapping each other on the back. And one of them chimes in with, well, I suppose we should probably start using a different person each time, because people might start cluing in on the fact that the same person seems to keep helping out caravans, and then they blow up. And then there's like a brief pause and a, don't be stupid! And they all start laughing at him. And you get the feeling you've made your way around pretty undetected. So what was the
Okay.
plan after Warden had snuck around?
Rip is gonna try to get carried sneakily over to one of them and inflict wounds. And then,
Okay.
and then, I don't know. Such a
Then,
bad plan.
once you do that, you'll, I guess, let me know, and he'll start making his way up. Lay down your arms and things of that
So-
nature.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
you want to
mage
like, just
hand.
extinguish his fire and stuff.
The mage hand is invisible, yes?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Because of Arcane Trickster.
And
Does-
Rip is all black except for his white
Yes.
mouse skull mask.
Give me a stealth check for Rip, and I will give it advantage because he's very small and blending in with the rapidly approaching night, gliding in on a silent, invisible mage hand.
Let me find him on here.
Good reasons.
The mage hand's just descending from above the bandits, and he's Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, splayed out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. He doesn't have proficiency in anything. I think I'm using like a badger is what I'm using as his base.
Badger.
It doesn't really matter. It's a familiar. I don't care about their stats.
Let's see if they notice him. Cool.
Like a little knuckle-sized white dot coming at him.
Yeah, it's true actually. Yes, they say, Warden, as you're sneaking round, you've got a decent view now. You can see, and why it's not letting me multi-select is beyond me. So I'm just gonna have to do this one by one. You can see there are 5 people sat around the fire. And just off to the side about here, there is a chest that is, the lid is open and you can see a very faint glow coming from inside the chest. And kind of as you're just watching them laughing at the actually reasonable solution from one of the other bandits, you see one of them kind of does a bit of a double take up at the air. Did anyone else see that? Points up at where Rip is floating in. And they all kind of, they're just kind of staring at it at the moment, not really sure what to do. Because it's just a little white dot as far as they're concerned, drifting towards them. They all just look a bit confused. They're just like, one or two of them have got hands reaching towards weapons, but they don't seem entirely startled. They're like squinting against the fire, trying to see through the darkness. What would you guys like to do?
You want to pounce on him now?
Yeah, I'm ready to hit go. If you guys are ready to hit go.
Yeah, I got one-liner for them.
I want to use my
God.
spiders.
Oh god.
I'm gonna use.
So
fairy
excited.
fire.
Yeah, at the
Action for
moment
one-liner.
They're just staring at Rip at the moment.
All right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
do you
I guess
want him
if-
to make his attack before we start initiative? Do you want to do initiative?
Are you attacking or stepping out and saying your one-liner separately?
Yeah, I don't.
I can step out,
Okay.
initiate battle, and say the one-liner.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Down.
Right.
I'm down with it.
Yeah, so Warden's just going to come up like behind these three,
Right?
right? And as they're looking up, he's just behind them, and he will say, "You mentioned something about a lone survivor.
Fuck. Jesus Christ.
Which one of you will be that?"
Yeah, that'll do it. Roll initiative.
Oh yeah.
Golf clap for the one-liner.
Thank you.
That kind of ended up being a
Where is-
two-liner, but I still love it regardless.
He's working on it.
I forget where it is.
Soft
If you
one.
say it with enough conviction, it's a one-liner.
Oh, there.
It's a comma, not a full stop, so still technically a one-liner.
That's true. He paused for breath
it's
for
like-
dramatic effect.
It's got like a series of ellipses in there.
Yes. ... Which one of you will it be? Well, in that case...
At worst, a run-on sentence.
Either way, I personally think it deserves a DM inspiration because it was so good. But that's just me and my opinion.
Sure, take it.
Thank you.
As you step out and say this, as the bandit in the middle in front of you just, oh, bloody hell, mate, you scared the shit out of me. Turns back and goes, oh, they all scramble to their feet. Warden, what would you like to do?
I guess it's time to do
As you are
wardeny
up
things.
first.
All right, time to do wardeny things. Let's
As there's the brief moment of him like, oh man, you scared me. Wait, who are you?
yeah.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Going to go for a great sword attack on the guy right in front of me.
Cleave.
It's going to be a. Oh, it took me to here. No, I want to roll it, please. Thank you. Oh, I have to hit. Okay. Blah. It's going to be a
19 will
19.
hit.
Awesome. It's going to be only 6, but I would like to disarming attack as well.
Okay.
let's
Do I need
see.
to roll a save? I do, don't I? To see if he
Yes,
drops
when you
the
hit a
weapon.
creature with this weapon attack, expend 1 superiority die to attempt to disarm the target. Add superiority die to check's damage roll. Must make a strength saving throw.
Strength
I believe
saving
my-
throw.
DC is 13.
Oh. Oh.
I'm gonna go and roll for extra damage as well.
You shouldn't have said 13.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, you do not disarm him.
Fair enough.
I rolled 14. I was so happy for you for a second because I thought it was 15, and then you said 13. If you hadn't said anything, I'd have just done it based off 15. I was literally about to open my mouth and be like, so you slap his weapon out of his hand.
Yeah.
But yes, so 9 damage total because of the superiority die.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. He is in great pain. He's not doing good at all. You've just stepped in and immediately that's the wrong button. I wanted to do that. There we go. That's also the wrong bandit.
Yeah, it's the middle one. Oh,
There we go.
okay.
I just picked the first one initiative to look at the stat block and didn't realize that it wasn't the right bandit, so I've shuffled them around. As you step in and just swing into this guy. I mean, you haven't disarmed him, but the arm you did hit is now just limp and useless at his side. And he is like bleeding heavily, heavily bloodied, struggling to stand. And it's just like, we're under attack.
Yeah, ouch.
Does that end your turn?
Wow, I almost feel bad. Almost.
Almost.
No, I still have a bonus attack.
Warden burps, and the bandit dies.
I'm going to attack the one on kind of off to the right. So this one.
Is this... Oh yeah, it's extra attack, isn't it? You're level 5 now. I was about to say, is it bonus
Yeah,
action or
yeah.
action surge? It's neither. You're just one of them. I forgot that you're a high
Oh.
enough level for
Oh,
that.
that's the damage. Oops. Let me roll.
That's
See if I
alright.
hit first. So
26.
nat 20.
So you max out the first set and then roll. So 11 plus 12. Because 12? No, that's not right. Yeah. 12 is
Yeah.
right because it's 6 plus 6. I was forgetting that the first roll had your bonus added to it.
Yeah.
Are you attacking another one of the bandits?
Yes, the one off to the right.
That one, cool.
Yes.
As you swing into the first one, and then turn around and just reverse sweep at the other one, and you just
False edge
slice
cut,
him
yes.
clean in half. And he is all of the kill. Bandit is kill. Very hard. Does that end Warden's turn? He barely even got his sword out of its sheath.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be his turn.
Okay. In that case, it's the one who's been heavily maimed, still trying to draw his scimitar now with the other hand. And he's going to try and swing back at you with it. Clearly, he's not ambidextrous, because it doesn't go well, as it just kind of clatters uselessly against Warden's chest, and he's just like, no! Linger.
All right.
And up next is... In fact, actually, you both rolled a 13, as did Rip. All three of you are simultaneous, so feel free to throw some fun shenanigans together and act all at the same time. You can confer with each other and discuss, or you can just take your turn separately.
If it'll help you, I was going to fairy fire them, which may help you, depending on what you got planned.
Let's see. Fairy fire gives me advantage on it to hit, right?
Yeah, on attack rolls, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to do fairy fire, Linger is going to cast inflict wounds, and then Rip will be using his action to absorb that spell and reach out and touch Bandit.
Excellent.
Right, so
Also, Mitch, we didn't talk about this, but the random spiders is still on here as a bonus action. I'm going to ignore that and say that it's an action because it's a ridiculous spell.
Yes.
Okay.
I will talk to the guy who puts the kibble stuff into Shard and be like, is this supposed to be a bonus action?
If I were a mean person, I'd be like, no, leave it. But the spell is already strong.
Yeah, it could have just been put in as an accident.
Yeah.
Because it's literally like a drop down for action, bonus action, reaction.
Okay.
Very easy to click the wrong one. But yes, so the Fairy Fire is a dexterity save from that whole cube of bandits, isn't it? Or is it?
I can't get them all. I did.
Does it not also include Warden?
No, if I get it in a spot.
I mean, you can arrange it. Yeah.
Get it back there.
Okay.
Yeah, so DC 14 dex for all of them. Then he's also gonna use his bonus action to give Linger, since this is the teamwork move we're doing here, a little the old bardic inspiration. Linger, look at them all glowing, or some of them, I guess TBD how many are glowing. I believe in you. I assume some will be glowing in a moment.
What's your DC?
14.
14. Two of them are glowing.
Two of them are glowing. That's half if my math is correct.
Can I add anything special to signify that?
Would be cool.
A good question.
Fairy Fire 1 minute has been added to this one. There's a very small triangle on him.
Yep.
Okay.
I see that.
I'm gonna put in a request for something more obvious to be added. But
like a fun little.
Yeah, just a little aura or something. Even if it was just another circle surrounding their tokens. There you go. Those two, the back two, for you guys, are shrouded in fairy fire.
All right.
And then he's just gonna move a little bit, not too much. There. I did not move.
All right.
What does Chester's fairy fire look like, by the way?
Probably like someone's been like doused in a mint julep and lit on fire.
Excellent. And then, sorry, Lindsay, as you were saying, as this fairy fire mint julep descends on them, Rip's going too.
He darts between the legs of this one just for flavor. He doesn't really have to, on the map, and then runs over to this one that looks like it's on fire. And he hops on the bandit's boot and hugs his ankle. And let's see.
There's a moment where he looks down and goes, "Aw, aren't you cute?" That'll hit.
And I'm gonna hang on to my bardic inspiration since I don't need it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
he just-
that was actually a pretty sad little.
Aren't you cute? Oh, yeah! As the pain shoots up his leg,
And then
Rip thumbs up.
Rip will backflip off of the boot and risk an opportunity attack to, start moving away.
Okay. What's Rip's armor class?
Does it matter? I mean, really? It's not going to be
It genuinely might, considering what I just rolled.
All right, let me find him. 10.
Okay. It does hit then.
Yeah.
I rolled a 12.
Until we get familiar armor, it's all he's a little squished.
Yeah.
But
And
he's
he
a little
takes-
squished that consciously chooses danger. Like she
Exactly.
doesn't force him to do this.
He loves it. He takes 4
Tickles.
points of slashing
How many?
damage. 4.
He has a hit point left.
Oh wow, he's got 5. Yeah.
As this clearly the leader of the bunch just
Amazing.
goes, "You little," and swipes at Rip with the scimitar, and Rip just kind of tucks into a parachute roll. The scimitar just slices up his back a little bit. He gets up, looks at Linger, thumbs up.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. And that is his whole. He's not going to do anything else but get that out of the way the rest of the combat, so you don't have to keep worrying about him.
And are Chester and Linger done?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Then this guy. Doesn't see where Rip is running off to. So he kind of sidesteps the bandit that Warden is currently engaged in, and you watch as he pulls a dagger from his belt and throws it at Warden.
Hmm.
The first one pings off your helmet, and he throws another one. What's your armor class?
19.
Oh, just hits.
Ouch.
The first one kind of pings off your helmet, and you turn and look, and the second one just sinks into your shoulder a little bit. There's the 20. Let's put that back 20 side up. It is just a little dagger, however. You take 4 points of piercing damage. But you do notice as it flips towards you and nicks you in the shoulder. The blade of the crystal, definitely not charged, but is inert aerocrystal. And it's kind of like pale yellow in colour. That will end the bandit captain's turn. This bandit over here, watching Rip run away like, what is this little thing? Notices the other two stood out in the middle of the field that Rip's signaling to. The captain didn't, and this guy's
Fuck
like,
you.
where's he running to? Oh, there's more of them. And he's going to just kind of step over here, pull out a light crossbow, and he's going to target. Unlike Chester, I do have a D2 here. It's a bronze coin with the sigil of the Necronomicon on one side, and a Cthulhu-y tentacled evil
Yes,
eye
that's the
with
good
runes
side.
on the other side. So we'll say Linger is the Necronomicon, and Chester is
Accurate.
the Eldritch Horror. So he's going to fire a bolt at Linger from his light crossbow with a 14 to hit.
That'll hit because I forgot mage armor.
Oh no. You know why?
She wouldn't have, but I did.
You know why you forgot it? It's because Mura wasn't there to lecture about remembering to put mage armor on.
No, it's just Lindsay was excited to do something.
That's fair.
Linger
You
would have remembered, but
take 5
fine.
points of piercing damage.
she's so used to reminding.
That was my thought process.
Mura.
She's got so used to
Mhm.
reminding Mura that because there was no Mura to remind, this is the one time she's forgotten, and now in her head Linger is
Yeah.
like, this will never happen again.
Yeah, she's just gonna wake up, put it on, re-up it later in the day.
That'll end that bandit's turn. The fairy-fired boy over here is gonna try and surround Warden. In fact, he's gonna move over here, so he's just circling around Warden. And he is gonna pull out a scimitar. And that is a 22 to hit.
That hits.
And it's 5 points of slashing damage.
Ignore that. Ignore that. I was testing something.
That's fine. Linger casts Chill Touch on herself, forgetting mage
Yeah.
armor.
No, I was just seeing if it actually added in the one of the war mage.
Does it?
bonus. I'm gonna check. Not that it matters on that last roll. I just wanted
Yeah.
to see. It look like it does.
That sucks. So yes, Warden, you take 5 points of slashing damage. And it's your turn.
All right.
I enjoy the rounds where Warden gets hit, and then immediately it's Warden next, and it's just my turn eviscerates them.
Yeah.
So there's one behind
It's
you
a-
who
give
is
him a
on
chance.
fairy fire. One in front of you who's holding his arm in place with his other arm.
All right.
Just do the link spin attack. Yeah.
Yeah, just helicopter it around. Yeah, let's go with a greatsword to the guy behind me.
Okay, it will have advantage because he's fairy fired.
Awesome. I'll throw advantage on that. 15.
I'm looking at Warden, that's why that doesn't hit. 15 does hit.
Awesome.
I was like, their armor class isn't that high.
Let's see. It's going to be a 7.
He is still standing after all this time, but struggling. These guys aren't the beefiest. He's looking very heavily bloodied.
He's going to struggle more with this because I'm going to hit him
Yeah.
again. Wait, was it advantage? What was it
he's-
advantage for?
Is it the first attack or is it every
it's
attack
fairy
with
fire.
fairy fire?
I think it's just every one of them.
Pretty sure it's
Let's have a
every.
look. Fairy fire.
No, yeah, it's all.
Yeah,
It's
because they don't
all
stop
of them.
you.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
Then yeah, advantage again.
Get it.
I guess that's also why, because it's potentially low saves.
Yeah.
Potentially easy to pass because everything has a dex. 20 will hit. Oh, sorry,
Awesome.
most things have dex. Most things will end up passing fairy fire. Those that don't
Concentration as
get
well.
screwed. Yeah.
11.
I mean, 11 would have finished him off the first time. But this time, Warden, just not even looking, 2 stabs behind his back. Man down.
Yeah, man. So yeah, and I think I'll action surge. So
Nice.
the bandit in front of me, I'm just gonna punch him, just to knock him out.
Okay, so you're going non-lethal.
Yes. I'll make it an arm strike too, just make it fair.
Yeah,
23.
that hits.
That's max, so 4 floor bludgeoning.
4 bludgeoning. Let's see. I don't think he had much left. Cool. So he sees one of his friends circle behind Warden. You see there's a brief moment where he's hopeful, and then Warden kills the other bandit. And he kind of drops to his knees and he starts with the Dorafio, I'm sorry I stopped. Please, I'll come back to you now if you just save me and keep me bonk. And he drops.
That's all to embarrassing yourselves.
Unconscious on the floor. So I'll leave him technically not kill because I can't drop him to 0 without him getting the dead indicator. But he is unconscious, so I will just skip his turn, which means it's Linger, Chester, and Rip.
Actually, I still have 1 attack.
Oh yeah, you do
That was
extra
only-
attack. My bad.
Yep.
Apologies.
Actually, DM.
Actually.
And I'm gonna step around him, and I'm gonna hit the bandit captain.
Okay. I think it's because I'm so used to flurrying from my monk that I'm playing that I forget that action surge means you take another attack action
Yeah.
when you attack with it, and not
And
just
he's-
you get an attack.
He's
17
also very hard
hits.
as well, right?
Yes.
I'll roll advantage just to see if I get that.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. No,
No.
why not?
It's regular damage.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 10.
10.
And just for funsies, I'll disarm him. I'll try to go with the disarming attack.
And that was a strength save, wasn't it?
Yes, strength save 13. It might need to be updated because I think I've bumped up my strength since then.
In fact, I would say you can take your die back or choose another one because he was holding 2 daggers and threw them both at you. He's not currently holding anything.
Oh.
So you can attempt to disarm him, but he's not holding anything.
I
the
want his
moment.
hands. No. Okay,
hand
I'll
him.
just take it back.
I'm sorry,
Sure,
it's
but-
called disarming attack. I'll take his arms. Yeah, so you can have that one back.
All right.
Because it just clicked in my head that he took 2 attacks with 2 daggers and is no longer holding any daggers.
Fair enough.
Does that end your turn?
Yes, that'll be it.
Cool. Linger, Chester, and Rip.
Rip's gonna run.
Chester gonna sort of get between them a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and use a new cantrip that he has.
Instant
Illusionary
kill.
Dart. Yeah, aka illusionary darts. So for this, I'm sort of picturing it's not so much he's like throwing a dart, but like out of his mouth comes like visible words that go like into the head of the person he's yelling at. Since
Hell
it's
yeah.
psychic damage. So he's going to try to go for the bandit, not the captain. Since she's shooting at us, and that's not very nice. Please don't do that.
Is that a save from me or a to hit from you? Because I believe
it's-
this is a new one for
it
Dipples.
It is. And 22 to hit.
Hits.
And then for the second one, because I get 2 of them, which is nice at level 5, 20 to hit.
Also hits.
For a total of 4 plus 1. Not a terrific amount of damage. 5 damage. And then bonus action. did Rip just walk, I guess? Left my mage hand. So my mage hand is going to try to push the bandit into the fire.
Yeah, I think he jumped off the hand when he tackled the ankle.
Yeah. So the hand would have been in the area and is going to try to push this this poor bandit into the
that's
fire.
a strength save.
For 14.
Fail.
Right. And
They
now
are
you're
prone
on
and
fire.
on the fire. I will say
well, I
they're
have
gonna.
to choose prone or move.
I see.
So it's just move.
Okay, so they are moved onto the fire.
Yeah.
I will say they're going to take a little bit of fire damage immediately for being pushed into the flames. Because why not? They take 4 points of fire damage as their clothes start to ignite, I guess. They are screaming and burning. Rip is raising his hands and breathing in the glorious scent of burning flesh.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? He's a twisted little fucker.
Rip's just like, yes, offer more to me in the cleansing flames.
And then Chester sort of like ducks out a little bit so Linger and can see over top of him, just in case she needs to do things like that.
Smart.
He doesn't want to get hit.
Yeah. Linger, or Rip is made his way on top of Linger. So he's up on her head doing all that. So she's gonna flip open her book and kneel down to the ground and touch the new wand that she has to the earth and send a black, sickly line across the ground, wilting shit as it goes, and attempt to ray of sickness, but with necrotic energy, the bandit captain.
Hell yeah.
So, hold on. Very confused about what it's doing here. Okay, so it's a to hit. Start with that. And
15.
got that bardic, right? How much is that bardic? Are you a D8 now?
D8, yeah. I'm a D8 now.
Do you need to know the result of the roll before you use the bardic inspiration? Like, can you use it
Well,
after
we're
you know the
almost
result of the
done.
roll?
It's fine.
Fair.
I don't know. I feel that feels a bit meta.
It's very fair.
Eventually, I'll
18
have a
will
thing
hit.
where if it doesn't work, you just get to keep it.
All right.
Hell
I
yeah.
accidentally hit the wrong button earlier, so I'm gonna hit cast now so that it does the thing. But just we just know that it already hit, so ignore
Right.
that.
Cool.
And then
And a con save, I see.
yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure that I. All right, so it'll be 13 points of necrotic damage on a failed save. It's also poisoned until the end of my next turn.
Mm.
And
Those
your
are nice.
DC is... Does it say that? Yes, 15. So 13. So
So
it takes
this-
13 points of damage.
all of his
and-
veins turn black, and it he's like super varicose, just all the way up to his face, and gets up under his eyes. And he gets sick to his stomach. Gets a little green in his complexion from the bile that's present. That's my turn.
And because Ray of Sickness was recently posted in chat, when I went to open and add condition, poisoned was a quick suggestion at the top.
Oh, how nice.
Cool. Does that end your triple turn?
It does.
Cool. It's Bandit Captain's turn, and he is now very aware that there are people attacking from behind as well. I mean, there's two of them there. Two of you guys there. He, looks at the two bandits that are still alive and says, "You! Deal with him!" And he's gonna start stomping off towards Chester, which means Warden gets an attack of opportunity.
Let me see.
Hits.
22.
Ooh.
13.
Jeez. 13 more damage. Good thing he's a bandit captain and not a regular bandit.
No,
But he
that's
is
a bad thing.
He is bloodied, but he approaches Chester, and he says, "Hello, gorgeous," and he's gonna swing at you
Pleasure.
with a scimitar. With oh no,
He has disadvantage. Yay.
does he? Oh, because
He's
of poison.
poisoned.
That was yes. Oh, you lucky son of a bitch. That went from a 22 to a 9. Oh my god, I forgot he has a
Very nice.
reaction that he could have been using this whole time against Warden. That's fine.
Ouch.
His second attack with disadvantage is a nat 1.
That'll also miss.
And his third attack with disadvantage is 19.
Oh my god, I have shield now, but it only brings me to 18.
Oh,
I forgot that I had shield earlier.
Linger's
Still
just there
later.
like, why am I forgetting all my spells? What is happening to me? Am I absorbing their stupid?
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna get hit.
Chester takes 5 slashing damage.
Five.
Well, the truth is, she was just really focused on that rain of spiders, but they scattered
Yes.
before she could use it. So
And he's going to use the rest of his movement to circle around here, so he can start trying to get in range of other people to attack. And that will end his turn.
Just gonna
This
give me
one-
flank.
Is going to take a little bit more fire damage as she tries to run through the fire at Warden and burns to death.
Actually,
Yes, she just took 4 fire damage and had 2 health left. Started her turn in the fire and took more damage.
it was wise. We were making great choices here.
we're just gonna sidestep and just let them fall
Yeah.
over.
And it's Warden's turn.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, just gonna. Go
There is
behind
still
this
one
guy.
alive next to you. Oh wait,
Oh,
no,
he's
they're
not out.
unconscious. Yeah, I forgot they were unconscious. Damn it. That's why the
Yeah.
bandit captain said you two deal with him. Oh well.
To the unconscious and on fire one. This guy
Mitch
not
goofed
good at
there.
his job.
Fog of War.
Well, to be fair, these are the same ones that laughed at the we should switch out people.
Yeah,
So-
right?
They're not,
All right. Yeah. That's
but-
good.
not going
RP.
after the A team here.
Yeah, I'm just really in character.
Yeah. I knew.
Just
I
gonna
knew
be a
that.
Great sword. He's still fairy fired, right?
Yes. Oh, that's a point. Chester needs to roll a Constitution saving throw for the concentration.
Oh,
Very good. Sorry.
But the DC is
I'm
only a
good at-
10, I believe, because he only took 5 damage.
Yeah. Good to go.
Cool. So he's still fairy fired. Either way, Warden's attack missed regardless. That first one.
Is there? Can I put an inspiration on that? Is it on attack or on the damage?
are your DM one or the Bardic one?
DM.
DM one you can use on the attack.
Okay. How much is a DM inspiration?
You just
Just a
reroll.
reroll.
Okay. Much better.
Nice.
All right. Damage. 12.
12 points of damage.
And for second attack,
He is heavily bloodied. Not doing
and
good.
5 again.
He's still fairy fired.
Oh yes, he is, isn't he?
We just con saved for that.
That's 6 again. Oh, yeah, that's 9.
15 is going to just hit.
All right.
In
I'll
fact,
take it.
no, it's not. No, because I remembered he has this. He's going to parry and add 2 to his AC.
There you go.
There we go.
I forgot it the
We're all
first like
remembering how to
5
play this
times. Warden's taken like 7 attacks against him.
It happens. It happens.
It's DM versus players. Screw you.
Oh. Ew.
No, it's just because I kept forgetting he had that, and I didn't want people to be mad that I forgot. Does that end Warden's go?
Yes.
Unconscious Bandit is dreaming of electric sheep.
Oh, nice.
Linger, Chester, and Rip.
All right.
Well, he's got advantage and a rapier in his hand, and he's a rogue, so, you know.
Yeah. After you.
Advantage. 25 to hit.
Yes.
And 15 damage.
15 damage. Oh my god, he is barely clinging on to life.
Alright, so then for bonus action, well, I guess not really. You know what? Bonus action, disengage.
Cool.
That's what you get, bandit captain.
Excellent.
All right.
Linger and Rip.
Rip's gonna hop down and get out of the way just to make sure that he stays safe. And Linger's gonna tap him on the shoulder with her tail and cast Inflict Wounds
God.
as she.
Is it the opposite shoulder to the leg that she sent Inflict Wounds up the first time? So he's now just having it sent through both sides of his body.
Yeah, we're trying to cross his heart with it. 23.
So what you're saying is
and
you're crossing his heart and hoping he dies.
exactly. I'm glad you caught that. 14 points of necrotic damage. Racing
you-
across his heart.
Like to describe your kill?
Yeah. So the veins, they the other side of his neck becomes darker as it spreads across his chest, and he coughs up like sickly dark red blood, and his chest caves in, and then he crumples over
God damn.
as his insides are liquefied.
Glad I backed up.
Linger,
And
the
that
queen
is-
of no chill.
Well, he hurt Rip. So
Very true.
Sure.
Rip demanded recompense.
Mm. and then after that, she's just gonna start walking. She's got some movement left because he's
Mhm.
down. Start walking towards where the chest is.
Mhm.
And as she's walking, she's gonna look around for like moss and stuff, because if that's where the crystals are, they're gonna need more padding. So she's just sort of like looking for soft earthen substances. But
Yeah.
that's my turn.
Moss, certainly easily findable. I'll say we're out of initiative.
Okay.
It's going to add XP to you guys, but, you know.
Yeah.
We're not doing XP, but it's still cool to be able to track the XP from fights you do get into. Excellent. What would you guys like to do then? You have one unconscious bandit and some liquefied remains and a chest with some crystals in.
The one that was sort of on the campfire. Just
Yes.
out of curiosity. Excuse me, to my bugbear nose. How does that smell?
It would be good if she had washed more recently than, like, once in the past 3 weeks to your trained, well-groomed nose.
All right, just curious.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
I probably like the hair and stuff is really messing up the scent.
Awful.
I would think.
Yeah, burnt hair. Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
worst. Maybe the worst smell. All right, well, mission accomplished. It seems.
Here we go.
Excuse me, I seem to be losing my voice.
Yeah.
Not great for a bod.
I figured out the Wand of the War Mage issue. I had it attuned, but I didn't have it
But
equipped.
not equipped.
You gotta equip it and attune it.
That'll do it.
I don't know why one doesn't signify, but whatever. I have it, but not on me. I guess. So that's fixed now. I'm sure we were all very concerned.
I was.
While the guys are dealing with unconscious bandit, can Linger and Rip be looking around the area for naturey alchemy supplies?
Sure, give me an Arcana or Survival check. Because I feel like there's a fair bit of Arcana involved in identifying alchemy ingredients.
Okay, and I'm gonna use my knowledge of a past life. So that gets me up to a 14.
Cool. I need to reopen that PDF, don't I?
Yeah,
you find
but
some
we can do it
stuff,
later.
and I'll deal with it later.
Yeah.
If you
It's
want
It's
to
the end of the
I'll
session. I'll deal with it later.
Chester's doing his classic, looking for clues in the various pockets of all the dead bandits.
In total, I will just add it to the shared treasure. Actually, wait, no, I won't, because it's just Chester finding it. So I will grant them to Chester imminently, but across the bandits, you do manage to dig up 300 silver and 2 solid but inert aero crystals. One is blue, one is green.
All right. And that's not, obviously, I guess, counting what's in the chest, right?
No. The chest I'm adding to the shared treasure so I can just throw it at all of you and you'll all see what it is. But as you head over to the chest, which is still somewhat padded.
Yeah, we're still
there
padding
are-
it more though, just in
No,
case
of
these-
course. Absolutely. I hope that's given you the treasure. But there are 3 charged aero crystals in the chest, all yellow.
Okay, should I?
Bearing in mind, Linger knows that there's no significance to the color other than it's usually just like elemental sources that they're found near, like ones found near water often tend to be blue.
Yeah. So we know we overheard them say that they picked them up after the cart went over, right? Or there was some. Wait.
Yes.
Okay. So Linger's gonna go back to where the cart would have tipped over and all the explosion-y stuff is, and get out from her back wand sheath thing, the wand of detect magic, and she's just gonna kind of get that fired up, looking away from the chest because that's probably gonna be bright, you know. And just
the area.
Yeah, just see if, like, you know, you don't want to miss like a red one that's like rolled underneath a bush or something. You
Yeah,
know.
that'll start a forest fire. Yeah. You have a little investigate around with your aero crystal detector. And it pings off a few times. In total, you manage to find 1 more yellow and 2 blue,
Nice.
and they are all charged.
See, that would have been a hazard to have just left out here.
Some poor child finds that.
Yeah. Or like a chipmunk picks it up and takes a bite.
Yeah.
Little child chipmunk.
That'd be even worse. I can't imagine anything worse than a child
Anyways,
chipmunk.
here's 100 silver for you. Here's 100 silver for you, Ward.
Cool.
Awesome.
I very nearly just accidentally rolled a check for Linger.
Did the fox happen to? Sorry.
I was looking through Linger's sheet to give her the new aero crystals that she's just found by herself, and was scrolling through quickly, and it stopped at the bottom of other traits where it just says, used to be a rave girl.
Used to be a rave girl.
Now she just liquefies people, you know.
That tracks. Just the default progression of a rave girl. Yeah.
Sorry, what was your question?
I forgot that I put that. If
That
the
was all
fox
from last
happened-
session.
I know. If the fox lady person, man, I don't remember the gender.
Lady.
Okay, the foxy lady.
Yes. I nearly made that joke.
How many crystals they had been expecting?
See, that's
I
the
didn't think to
fun
ask that.
part. And that's what
Okay.
Linga just remembered is she didn't actually specify, and Linga's like, you know, that's exactly what I would have done. Because then, no
Yeah.
matter how many they find, I can turn around and say, that's exactly how many I was expecting. Shame that the rest must have exploded.
Perfect.
But yes, you don't know how many she's expecting, unfortunately.
That's all right.
Did you add those to your sheet? Just out of curiosity.
I'm
Are they added
adding
to my
the
sheet?
new ones to Linger, and then I'm going to add the ones to Chester. It was just because Linger was first in the
Oh.
initiative, and that's where I accessed her sheet from.
Oh, okay. I added them to my misc items, but the inert ones, I mean.
Ah,
But if there's
cool.
like a specific,
I mean,
Yeah.
she would put them with the group stuff. I'm not. We
You
still
can
have
move
some
them around
spiritual
when
wood
I'm-
in there.
Done.
okay.
But yes,
Cool.
excellent. I think I'd put them at that. Because there should be some in the shared treasure anyway that were
Yeah,
sent through.
yeah. I mean, maybe she should keep one. Never know.
I'm gonna
right?
remove that spiritual wood.
Save. So now, Linger has 3 charged area crystal. There you go. In your inventory. It
Should
doesn't
we,
note the color though.
It's pretty late. Should we perhaps stay here for the night? Already got a fire going.
We might want to do something with the bodies so as to not attract creatures, but
All right. Well, I can get Belvedere up and running, and he can start digging some graves.
perfect.
All right.
I
We'll,
like the idea that this whole party is so perfectly happy every time to just sit and eat by the fire while this unseen servant is digging like mass graves
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just
and then dragging the bodies in while they sleep.
it's living magic. It's not
Somebody's
even
got to do it. It's not going to be me.
I just love the idea of it. It's so funny. Just having casual chats around the campfire and the unseen servant is just slowly, silently doing it.
Sometimes also the bodies are too big for him to carry, so he's got to dismember them.
well.
God.
Let me see. Come on, computer, go faster than that so I can make my thought.
Right?
Are you talking to your brain?
Oh. I just don't
Not
like to say stuff
computer.
unless I know it's okay. Yeah. So what we could do is take some of those scribing supplies and maybe Chester would be nice enough to scribe down how to cast Unseen Servant, and then
Mhm.
Linger could learn Unseen Servant from that scroll that he just made, and then we would have 2 Unseen Servants, and then he wouldn't have to chop up the bodies anymore.
With a pleasure.
God.
And we get rid of bodies faster. So, if you want to do that, we can make that happen.
You give me the gist on how to do it, and I will hop chew.
All right, yeah. Yeah. If you don't mind helping me with it, I would absolutely sit with you and talk you through how to
All right.
scribe.
You probably would
a
need that.
scroll.
Am I able to make a
Fantastic.
scroll? Can a bard make a scroll?
If any scroll or any spell that you know,
Yeah.
you should be able to.
Okay.
Well, I think at the very least you can, like, write it down and she can make it a scroll. if in doubt, I believe.
Yeah.
All right, step 1, you're gonna need a felt mustache to fix to it.
Very important spell component.
Yep.
Let me just double check. You guys keep talking. Yeah, spellcasters can create their own spell scrolls at cost. You're a caster, and you know it.
Yeah.
And I already bought the stuff, so we good.
You know what's a shame about that? I can't learn from a scroll,
No.
Yeah.
so we can't totally. But you know, if there's any other spells of mine that tickle your fancy, as it would, please, as long as you got the components to do it, I got the time.
Perfect. We can trade secrets over the campfire. It'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be trading trade secrets.
Yeah. In the background, Rip is just like Mr. Burns drumming his fingers.
Excellent. Well, with that, as you all settle down by the fire and have your pleasant times while Belvedere is dismembering bodies and throwing them into graves, we will go ahead and end the session there. Thanks to everyone who came along and watched
Yeah.
through all the
Yes.
shit that would have inevitably happened while my PC and internet struggled all of today. And of course, the players for being cool and fun. But goodbye. We will see you next time on Practical Heroes. Tune in next week to find out what happened to Mura all that time. Not next week, the week after, but still. What happened to Mura all that time while she was chasing a harmonica player? Did she get into shenanigans and hijinks? Who knows? We don't. See you next time.
episode, the mirror episode. Oh, man.
And end screen. Boom.
And
Well, I'm gonna sit here
Ooh.
and wait for the stream to end on the massive delay before pressing stop stream, because otherwise it's gonna cut off before the actual end of the stream. So that's fun.
Oh, yeah, it is frozen on my phone actually.
Yeah, it just froze on the preview. The VOD's gonna be trash, and I didn't take a backup recording. Excellent.
Perfect.
Cool.
All coming together.
Hell yeah. Well, starting from next time, I'm gonna go back to I'm gonna go back to recording on OBS at the same time as streaming on OBS, and that'll help that a little bit. Although it may tank the stream quality because my PC. We'll see.